Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to call the CRA meeting to order on April 14th at 6:30 p.m. We'll begin tonight's meeting with an invocation by Board Member Mac McCrae, and he will also lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please rise.
Let us bow to the Creator and Maker of all mankind. Father, we pause this afternoon just to tell you thank you. Thank you for letting us see another day, one that we would never see again. We ask that you take over our meeting and let us do it pleasingly, orderly, in your sight. Lord, we recognize that we will not be able to satisfy everybody, but one thing about it, we want to do the right thing. And all these blessings we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please? Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Here. Here.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll go to agenda approval. Additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda. I have one recommendation. I would like to, under new business, item B, I would like to move that up to just after the consent agenda. We have a gentleman here concerning that, and he needs to drive back to Orlando tonight, so we want to let him get out a little bit sooner.
Moved.
Second.
Have motion second. All in favor? Aye. So any other changes, addition to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Takes us to informational items or disclosures by board members and CRA staff. Staff, do you have any disclosures you need to make?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
All right, I'll go to board member Woodrow Hay.
I did talk with Mr. David Katz about the projects. As far as information item, you want those now?
Sure.
Okay. On March 19th, what was the what was that? The Samantha Russell Band, I believe it was. Yeah, was great. I'd just like to know how do we pick the bands?
We try to get a variety throughout the year of different kind of music to attract different people, country, R&B, rock, just we try to cover all the genres.
Okay. So if a band wanted to be considered, they would just call you and
Yeah, they would call Christopher Burdick on our staff, and they could give the CD or a link to their website, or so they could be considered.
Okay. Let's see what else I have here. On the 18th, which was a Wednesday, from between 6 and 9 p.m., we had the Phase 2 Harbor Master Building and the full dock. That was well attended and an asset to the community. On Thursday, March 26th, the Family Dollar groundbreaking celebration was between 9 and 11 a.m., and which is another asset to our community. We do have a lot of irons in the fire, and I'm really excited about the direction that the city is going in at this point. Thank you.
Board member Fitzpatrick.
I spoke with Salvador Campanile and Tara Sinclair, David Katz, and Rebecca Shelton, and that's about it.
Your turn. I'm
I
sorry.
attended the groundbreaking for the Family Dollar store, which is exciting. Seeing something nice to go up there and Seacrest. Also attended the Boynton Beach Fire Department fishing tournament. And this year they had 127 boats entered. And as you know, Mayor, as you were one of the judges, you and I were a couple of judges of the chili cook-off, and I can tell you I suffered the night. So thank you.
Okay.
David Merker.
Yes, please. I also went to the chili, but the event that I found the most meaningful was the first MLK Day in the remembering of the passing of April 4th, 1968, when he passed. Ray Whiteley and Michael Norwood did a wonderful job of organizing it and putting it together. And it's the start, as I say over and over again, of people in the city, especially the children, learning their history. History makes the world go round from the beginning when it happens to the lifetime to the end. And this was a very good beginning.
Board Member McCray?
Thank you, sir. I spoke with Tara Sinclair, Disclosure. Since I'm semi-retired now, I've been to so many things. I'm just saying, but things that have stood out in my mind was the one that I attended Sunday. And that was the Delta Sigma Theta Incorporation of South Palm Beach County. They had a Scholastic Achievement Award where it was over 500 kids at St. John Missionary Baptist Church. And it pleased me so well to find out there were so many academic scholastic kids in our system. That is not all bad. Thank you.
Mr. Buchanan?
Yes, I'd like to compliment our staff on the Harbor Master building and shepherding that through to completion and having a wonderful opening ceremony for it. And also both the city and CRA staff for the model block program, which is getting kicked off the ground. And as far as disclosures, I've talked with architect Jim Williams in the past about Ocean Breeze East.
That's it.
Mr. Chair, before you move, one other thing I'd like to say, and that is that a couple of weeks ago I had the pleasure of getting 2 puppies. I'm going to give all y'all some advice. If you want dogs, just get one. Thank you.
I also attended the events that were already brought out, discussed. They were all very good. The vigil lighting ceremony went well. I'm going to put this out. Really, it's outside the city, but just in case anybody can help, the director of the food kitchen, which is way out on Boynton Beach Boulevard, almost to the Bethesda West Hospital. They do a tremendous job in feeding. They feed over 200 people a day, I'm sure. And they came to me because they want to start a program to take meals to people who can't get there. There's a lot of people that cannot get out of their house and stuff, so they want to start that program. But if you've ever been there, they really jammed in. They cook so much food every day, and this guy's got this little place he calls an office. It's really office. But what they needed was a room where they could put a couple of telephones so they can take calls from people who can't get there, so they know where to go deliver the food. And I informed them that's outside the city limits, and I didn't know personally a place there, but I did contact the day I met with the president of Bethesda Hospital because the executive director told me he'd been there, and he said Bethesda West has a lot of empty rooms. Maybe they could spare one. So at least I did meet with him and present that, and he's going to look into that. But the reason I'm bringing it up, if any of you, I know a lot of you go all over the area, if you happen to know somebody out there be interested in helping this group, they do fantastic work. But all they need is one room where they can have a couple of phones where they could take calls for deliveries. So I'll just put that out for information. Anything else? Seeing none, we'll go to announcements and awards. Movies in the park. I think our
Good evening, Board. Christopher Burdick with Special Events with the CRA. On April 3rd, we had Big Hero 6, which was a pretty successful event. We had really good weather, and about 150 people showed up. As usual, we showed promotion video for all of the local businesses, selected businesses, and they provided gift certificates for a giveaway that we had at the end of the evening. Our next movie is going to be Paddington Bear. That's on May 1st, so we're looking forward to a good crowd that day as well. Hopefully the weather will turn out for us. Our last Music on the Rocks event was on March 19th. We also had great weather. I don't know, we're having really good weather lately, which is always a plus. Also had a good turnout with them. About 100 people showed up. That was the Samantha Russell Band, and it was country. And yes, anyone that wants to contact me can email me or call me and send me links to their performances so that we can make a selection for our next season, which is next October. And then this Friday, actually, we have Solid Brass, which is a sort of classic rock, heavy brass instrument band, and they sound really good. I hope everyone comes out for that. Hopefully we'll have good weather. And that's from 6 to 9 p.m. And then our last concert for this season is on May 15th, and that's going to be Making Faces, and they're a rock, reggae, and funk band. And then our last big event that was on March 13th was Blarney Bash, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. It was very successful for a first-time event. I think we had about 1,000, maybe 1,200 people. It seemed to be about on par with the attendance that we had at Christmas for our holiday event. We had food vendors, some different music. We had The Kitchen, which played in our dining tent between sets for The Crack. And then we had Mighty Quinn and U2 by UV. And hopefully we'll be able to grow that event for next year since it was such a good success for us. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, consent agenda. There was nothing pulled. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would like to pull, Chair, 8A, just for
A?
8A.
Minutes?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion, any others to be pulled from that? If not, there's a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
The motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Show the motion unanimous. Item A, approval of minutes of CRA Special Board Meeting on February 17th, 2015. Board Member Hay.
On the agenda for this February the 17th, on page 2 and 3, it makes reference to, I believe it's saying that on page 2, the second paragraph from the bottom, I believe they're talking in reference to Board Member Merker, and they referred to him as the CRA Director. I don't think that's correct. You see that? Okay. And also on page 3, at the very top, it makes reference to Mr. Merker as being the throughout his tenure as CRA Director, and I don't think that's correct, right? Okay, so that to be corrected. Also, I would like to have explained to me a little bit about the retaliation rule. If legal could kind of expound on that a little bit and clarify that in my mind about the retaliation rule.
Simply put, when there has been a complaint of harassment or discrimination filed, it is also illegal to take action to retaliate against that individual for filing the complaint. So behaviors that would, and I apologize, I am not an employment lawyer, so I will trying to give this in broad brush strokes, but any behavior that would be perceived as punishing the individual for having filed the complaint could be considered retaliatory and could make the CRA or the individual liable under the applicable statutes and rules.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And if you need further clarity on that, I'm happy to, get some research together and provide it to you.
I would like to have some examples of
Okay.
what constitute retaliation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will prepare that for you.
Thank you.
And I will disseminate it to all the board members.
Good.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Item A with the corrections made.
8A.
Is there a second? Second. A motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. That takes us to the item I moved up under new business is the consideration of request from Morgan Boynton Beach LLC to change the entity name on the Directive Incentive Funding Agreement. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So the motion is unanimous. That takes us to, that gentleman can head to Orlando. It's a long ride, I know, so drive safely. I'll go down the information only and stop me if you have a question. The public comment log, marketing and business development campaign, CRA 2014 Annual Report, Boynton Harbor Marina Ribbon Cutting Ceremony Photo Gallery. This is all in our backup. A Family Dollar Groundbreaking Celebration Photo Gallery. Hearing none. We're going to public comments, and we have a lot to cover tonight, so I'm going to announce right up front that at this point you can talk to things that are not on the agenda, and we're going to really be strict about the 3-minute limit because we got a lot to cover tonight. So anybody who wants to address the board on comments on items non-agenda may do so at this time. I'm also going to take that same thing. We have several proposals to listen to tonight, so the people that are going to make the proposals, you'll have 5 minutes to make your proposal, and then anybody that wants to address them may do so, but we're going to also limit that to 3 minutes each. So as many of you want to address them can, but we're going to restrict you to 3 minutes. Okay? So at this time, anybody who wants to address items not on the agenda may do so at this time. Ask you to come forward and give your name and address for the record. Anyone? Seeing none? Okay, very good. We'll close public comments and we'll go to old business. Consideration of value engineering and funding options for the East Coast Avenue lighting project. Is there a motion? Does the staff, do you want to talk about that a little bit first?
Yes, Chair. I was going to go through just real briefly and
Thank you. Yeah.
kind of set up what I've proposed here. It's somewhat detailed, and I provided a PowerPoint to kind of take us off of the page. We're really excited about both of these projects coming up, but the task that was handed to staff and the contractor and the design firm with regard to our East Ocean Avenue lighting project and the results of the ITB invitation to bid that came in, we budgeted $265,393 for the design and construction of this project. The projects came in all very kind of close together above that amount. So we were sent to work as a team to try to find some opportunities to value engineer or look at the project and see if there were things that could be eliminated or refined, alternate products and different things that we could look at to bring that down into the funding gap, which was about $160,000 between the cost of construction as submitted by Bryan Construction, which was the approved contractor at last meeting by the board, of $349,907 to bring it closer in line with our budget of the $265,000. After quite a bit of work, I'm going to go through this at the same time. The slide in front of you, unfortunately the red didn't show up quite as good tonight, but the darkness of the street is, I think, perfect. The west end of Seacrest, which is what you see here, looking from Seacrest into Ocean Avenue, lacks about 9 poles, light poles. They just stop right at the kind of in front there of the Schoolhouse Children's Museum. So the design of the project brought 9 poles out, 3 on the north side of the street and 6 on the south side of the street, along with the box on the bottom, which denotes lighting, uplighting that was going to be in the trees there. There's a large area of landscape buffering between the sidewalk and the library parking lot. We thought this was an opportunity to draw some more attention to Ocean Avenue by having some uplighting in the landscaping there and accenting some of those larger trees. Again, this is the original design as it was bid. The next slide shows, again, as originally designed, there are a number of opportunities to provide additional lighting. The trees and the along north and the south side of Ocean Avenue have tree grates in them that allow us an opportunity to put an uplight at each of those grates. There are 32 total, and this would be 32 new lights, 32 new grates. If you're familiar with this type of a rubber matting, they have it in front of the Children's Schoolhouse Museum now. Right, what we have there now is a type of a steel or aluminum grading system, kind of like a wrought iron style. The trees are expanding into the grate. They're having to cut the grates back and redesign the grates for the trees expansion. So this is, it's kind of a twofold or threefold project. And then the area around Dewey Park, the trees that are in the park now, the trees that are in front of the Civic Center and near the playground just to the east of the Civic Center were thought to be an opportunity to provide some uplighting within the canopy. It was designed for a total of 24 tree lights, tree strap lights is what they're technically called, 16 on the west side and 8 here at Dewey Park. So that's kind of an overview of the way the project was designed and bid. And now the value engineering project was done together. We looked at opportunities without sacrificing too much of the project. This project is not overly designed. It doesn't carry a lot of, it's not a building where we can change materials and finishes and things like that. It's pretty straightforward, a light pole, lights, electrical. So we identified the tree strap lights on the west side as a potential removal of the project. You can see the 3 locations there for a total of 16 lights. There's 4 lights up in each tree. And the reason why we picked this, and particularly having had experience now with the Harbor Master Building and the tower project, I felt like this was an opportunity to remove this cost because we have the street lights on the sidewalk, leaving the uplights on the corner and the trees. But the darkest area is on the sidewalk and the street. There's an awful lot of conduit and digging and labor that's involved in running these lights up into the tree. They're not low voltage, so we have flex conduit that has to be run up into the tree, dug under some of the sidewalk area for power. It's certainly a labor-intensive project, or portion of the project. And ultimately, I would say we'll probably not provide, a super abundance of light in those canopies in comparison to the effect that the street lights will have in front of them. So that was one identified value engineering item. And by doing so, of course, you get credits for the conduit, credits for the street, the straps, the lights themselves, the labor, and what have you. And that option brought us down a savings of $41,000. So again, not the $160,000 that would bring us into the budget, but that was certainly something we could do. The next option, that's what you have here. This slide shows in your packets a breakdown of where those credits and where those expenses come in. I also would like to introduce, if we remove those straps from the trees on the west side, I would like to suggest that we use a double arch street pole in front of the playground that would provide a light, actually a fairly direct and beneficial light to the playground on the back side. So the pole would have a light over the street and a reverse light over the playground. So besides removing the 16 tree strap lights, we would want to do the addition of the double arch pole. So we'd have 2 double arch poles and 7 single arch poles. Again, that's option 1. The second option is to eliminate all of the tree lights that are in the project, which are 24, as I said, in total. This is roughly a $51,000 item just by itself. There is some credit that you earn by purchasing a large light package that we will not take full advantage of that number. But by eliminating all of the lights, those tree strap lights, you end up with a savings of $52,000. Again, I took the 16 out of the west side because there's a lot of lighting down there, and left as an option 1 the lights at Dewey. Again, you still have a conduit that has to be dug up in the trees, connections, so it's somewhat labor intensive. They're hard conduit as well. So other than starting to eliminate lights on the sidewalk and lights in the tree grates, which we think is really the impact on the sidewalk to the pedestrian. That was our VE evaluation. You also directed us to find funding in the event that, or to identify funding if possible, in the event that we could not reach that funding gap. And we have identified funding, and that will come up under a budget amendment item under new business A for your consideration. So at this time, you don't have to approve additional funding, but I wanted you to know that there is that opportunity to address some of that gap.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Yes.
I think that this project is very important to the development of Ocean Avenue. I think not only just providing lighting on the streets, but the atmosphere of the lights and the trees. And I appreciate the efforts were made to bring this more in line with what we had originally budgeted. But to only save 10 or 15% and have what I think would be a major effect on the impact of this project, I think is not the way to go. So therefore, I'd like to make a motion that we approve entering into a construction contract with Brand Construction for the East Ocean Avenue lighting project in the amount of $349,907, including 15% contingency for total project funding amount of $405,000, and execution of the contract once approved by CRA staff and CRA Board legal staff.
Second.
Motion, second, discussion.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Merker.
Mr. Chair.
All right.
You know, I'm in favor of this, but, you know, Brain Construction, Mike, this is for you. I'm just saying, you know, and I apologize if I seem naive to know what this is about lights in the trees or something. Have they ever done this before? And if so, why wasn't we given a picture to show us something like this is what I'm voting on? Or was there anything around here that I should have went and looked at?
Well, yes, sir, and I apologize. All of the lights that are around the Marina Tower, the entrance feature that are in the palm trees behind that tower, are all of the same lights that we would be using in these trees. Also at the Harbor Master Building, all of the lights that are on the coconut trees that are shining down onto the sidewalk or up into the heads. So this would be the third project that we've used these on. We had looked at alternative lighting fixtures, but there isn't anything that the city will approve on how to mount these lights. They're very particular about how they are addressed onto branches and living things. Here.
Okay, in the near future, I'm just saying when we're doing a presentation, I think it'd be beneficial not only to us as well, but the audience to see some examples. You know,
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Merker.
The question I have, I'll start backwards. Is there a phase 2 to this? I think what you're doing is right, but is there a phase 2? Because personally speaking, it seems more lighting is necessary. And the question I have going along with that is if there is a phase 2, when you own a business, you budget over a period of years because you have some good years and you have some bad years. I think what you've done, and I think all the people, especially with hopefully the new restaurants coming in, will, obviously it'll lighten it up, but you'll need more lights and more signs. And I would like to see a second phase planned, budgeted, and then plan it for the next, say, 3 years to pay it out.
Yes, sir. We can, quite honestly, the savings in the tree strap lights could be a second phase, which would be an alternative to doing all of it now. You could come back and save the money, you know, in this particular budget year, or in this budget year, and not do the tree straps and come back, you know, next budget year and do it. We can identify other opportunities within the Ocean Avenue district to accentuate new lighting. I think that's something that staff is always doing, so I appreciate your support in trying to find new projects that will assist in the
What's
development
going to
of
light up
businesses.
the Ocean Avenue corridor is 500
Yeah.
Ocean.
Yeah,
It's
that's gonna be
really
very-
going to light up the corridor.
Very exciting. But you're going to have other opportunities, absolutely. We'll work to
And the reason
identify
I
those.
bring it up, and the reason the way I bring it up is looking at the budget on how Susan took from Peter to pay Paul, where there was excess money or where someone didn't do what they had to do and there was excess money. that obviously made it easier. But if you think of it over a longer period of time, these incidents may not happen. And your bravado in the sense of being able to reduce the fees is wonderful. You're known for that. But it's just, to make it complete. And other areas in the future, hypothetically, if MLK is ever a plan in the future to design that, again, I think you have to look beyond your nose and plan it for, say, a 5-year period. And that's all I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Well, we increased the budget from the previous year, and then in this current year, we added additional funding because we kind of felt like the construction costs were starting to kind of ramp up, and they did indeed. Typically, this is not something that we've been overshoot. We haven't undershot this type of a project by this much. I'm kind of like Susan. I like to have more there so that it's there if we need it. In this particular case, it just accelerated far beyond.
I think
but very consistent with all contractors. It wasn't just one.
No, I think you did a wonderful
well,
job. But
thank you.
you want to enhance it and improve it.
Fitzpatrick?
On this slide up there, are we showing light poles on either side of Ocean Avenue there as part of the project?
We are showing on existing. This is an existing picture, if you will, of the light poles.
So they're there,
on
and
the
we're not
street.
paying for them, right?
No.
The ones on East Ocean Avenue.
The only thing that we're adding to this particular area is the tree strap lights.
All right, so those poles are. But what I was concerned about is the poles on the south side are going to be in the way of construction of 500 East Ocean.
Those are going to be relocated as part of that project.
Okay.
Could be used somewhere on another side street. Could be. Saved for replacement. We're also painting. I kind of neglected to say it's not a very expensive part. About $17,000 or $20,000 of the project, as designed, is to paint all of the blue light poles to black, which is what you're seeing consistently installed by development and new development on Boynton Beach Boulevard. What 500 Ocean is going to install is going to be black. You saw the same coloring on Seacrest Boulevard North, that project. So what will happen when this is done is all of the street poles will additionally be repainted and powder coated in a black color as opposed to the fading teal that we have there now, or blue.
These special poles, do you have any idea of the lifespan? 15, 20, 30 years? Typical. That's okay.
These have been here. I would think these have been here at least for 15 to I don't know when the exact date of the Ocean Avenue streetscape was, but it was. Yeah, I was thinking as well. The duration now. We're trying not to change all the lights out to LED either. All those poles would have to be changed. All those fixtures would have to be changed, which could be, again, another phasing project under something else.
As they go bad or whatever.
Yes, sir.
So if I heard correctly, all that stuff up in the trees next to the Civic Center, that's been removed? You're not...
No.
How much are you getting up in the trees? Because we're not even sure if those banyan trees are going to be here.
Right. This is, my feeling in the project is that is an element that could be removed, certainly. We have also an opportunity to save $12,000 by changing from the multicolor LED lights in the tree grates to white. I'd like to try to take advantage of some of those in the motion that I think are good suggestions by the contractor and the electrical engineer. So I think if there's a kind of a more detailed discussion on the specifics of what we could remove and replace, a remote control for the tree strap lights, probably unnecessary. Again, can we save $1,200 or $12,000? I think if we can, we should, if it doesn't sacrifice the integrity of the job and you particularly are in favor of it. If not, then we'll go as you vote, of course.
But we are keeping lights up in the trees, those banyan trees next to the Civic Center.
If you vote to keep those in as the full project,
As the
yes, sir.
motion is posed now.
Commissioner Casello?
Mike, those 9 additional poles you put in, is that going to take it right up to Seacrest? They'll have poles
Yes, sir.
right up to Seacrest?
Yes, sir.
Could those poles you're relocating from in front of 500 Ocean be incorporated in those 9?
Jonathan, is there a... height issue with what's the existing now? I'm sorry, for the record, that Jonathan Haig, with who's the design engineer with Kimley Horn, the CRA's design engineer.
The poles are the same size and same height. I think when we looked at the bid prices, though, the difference in cost between removing it, refurbishing it, relocating it, and setting it back in place was very close to the same price as a new pole. So we actually just went with the new poles and opted to salvage the existing poles and use them as replacement parts for the future. I think that was the...
But we're going to have to relocate them anyway. We have to remove them. We're going to have to paint them black. I mean,
We discussed salvage,
that's-
using them for salvage, that we put
Yeah,
in
for
at the
parts.
cities where they put their stuff.
I didn't hear what you said, Vivian. I'm sorry.
That we
Can I
discussed
finish
with.
my line of questioning, please?
Sure.
If you're going
Thank
to
you.
talk.
Thank you. So, in your opinion, then they wouldn't be worth relocating up part of the 9?
I think that as a decision, it makes sense to keep those extra poles as spare parts. Let's say a light pole gets hit by a car, you've got an extra pole that's available to replace it and immediately, rather than waiting and ordering one and having a new pole delivered. And maybe the new pole won't match the new style or the style that's going to be out there. So it makes sense to have some extra poles around. And plus, the timing of the projects, I don't think, was going to
Right.
be such that when the poles would be ready for the Ocean Avenue lighting project, that the new project was ready to have new poles in place.
Right. You'd essentially lose the lights on the south side much longer than you might want to.
Thank you. The other question I had is, why do we need to light up a playground that's closed at night with the double arch light?
Well, the difference in the $2,300 from the single to the double, if you remove the uplights in the banyan trees next to the park, and if there's any additional lighting that kind of spills over into the park, I would say that the park is closed at night, but it doesn't stop people and unwanted people perhaps from sleeping in there or doing nefarious activities. So by providing light, it's an excellent septed device. You want to light up where you don't want people to be, or assist people in coming through. Remember, you have that entrance. This is not a huge spot. I mean, it's an additional pedestrian type light. You have people coming from behind the Civic Center, parking at that library site, that walk through to Ocean Avenue. I think that's a little bit of a dark spot that I'd like to try to work with the city staff on addressing a wall light there on the east side of the Civic Center wall. I don't think that the cost, I think the benefit outweighs the cost on that
Okay.
particular choice.
To touch on what Commissioner Board Member Fitzpatrick mentioned, those banyan trees, if we go along and we've got the Town Square project on paper there, those banyan trees could be removed, correct?
Yes, sir. And
So-
they are very thick at different times of the
Right.
year. Again, that's why I identified those as being something that I thought we could remove and not sacrifice the integrity of the job. Is it a nice additional feature to have? Yes, of course, but it is not providing enough that if you needed to save money or you wanted to phase it, that's the one to do, not the sidewalk, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like one more thing. Moving forward is a wonderful thing, like what you're doing, like hopefully the new restaurants coming in. But new ideas also are inspired when you see a job starting, let alone being completed. Other ideas, I'm sure, will come to your mind to complete it, to fill it up. You may want more trees. You may want less trees. So the point is, once it's in place, that's what you do best. You create ideas and you move forward.
Mike, just for the record, do you know how many poles have been destroyed on Ocean Ave due to car accidents?
I don't have that number. I would guess not many, but I can tell you that the repair of the ballasts in the lights themselves, those fixtures, are very costly and not as easy to obtain as you would think. So there is some advantage to having some additional parts. But again, I think it was really
the
the
new lights,
timing.
Mike, will be LED, correct?
The street lights are they going to be? I don't think they're LED because they have to match. We're trying to match the lighting and those light poles would be very expensive.
So the new lights are not going to be LED?
No, but the uplights are going to be LED.
why wouldn't we go with the latest technology if we're buying lights?
Ice.
Yes, please.
The light, the quality of light that comes out of an LED light is a lot different than what's going to be out there. So it would be a different light level on the street itself, and we thought it would look much more cohesive to have the cohesive lighting level along the street, and probably be a little bit safer as well. It'd be less hot spots created by one light type compared to the next one.
So you're saying the LED light would be inferior to the incandescent?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the quality of light is different between the two. The quality of light with the LED is actually a higher quality of light and probably a little bit brighter than the fixtures that have been out there for 15 years.
Correct.
And that would be a big difference, I think, in the street.
Well, we had talked about it a while back that eventually going to all LED energy-saving lights. And so why wouldn't we get ahead of the curve if we're going to install? Why wouldn't we go that route now? We already have 9 of them in on Ocean Ave.
Kind of pricey. The way it works, you can't just replace the bulb in the existing lights. The way an LED light works, they're very directional. So
I'm
you
not talking
actually-
about the existing lights.
Right,
Those stay there. I'm talking the
Yeah.
new lights that we're going to get now. If we're eventually going to change our system over to LED, which that's the way to go in the future, why wouldn't we do that now when we have the opportunity to put 9 new light poles in? That's all I'm asking.
And because it won't be consistent, the lighting won't be consistent.
Now, if it's
all
only
around the
because the
edges.
light's not consistent,
Correct.
okay. What about
And the
kilowatts,
cost,
money saved energy-wise?
We didn't look into that
No.
as far as the decision making.
All right, thank you.
We can run that analysis.
Mr. Chair?
You know, there's a cost-benefit analysis. There's more cost up front, but that's one of the reasons the city hasn't done as much LED change-out as we thought under the initial green task force. We kind of identified areas like...
Mike, I'm not talking about changing, I'm talking buying new fixtures. If we, as we move forward into the future, as we get new equipment, new technology, why wouldn't we get on that new technology? And I know it's not consistent with the incandescent lights down the other end of
Yes,
the
sir.
street, but it's the way of the future.
Well, if the board would want to direct us to investigate the costs of those lights over what we've bid and use some of that savings to, if we're saving some on the tree strap lights and you want to go as a CRA to LED in that area, we're happy to do that. We're happy to do whatever the board sees fit to do. It's a design. These are elements that can be interchanged and removed and colors changed and everything else.
I understand
this
that.
is
You're
not
going to do whatever we ask.
rocket
Board Member Hay?
science.
Just a comment. I don't have a problem with the color of the poles being black, but I do seem to recall years ago there was discussion about the core of the Ocean Avenue with the bridge all the way to A1A. So from Seacrest all the way over to A1A, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like the color was selected for consistency purposes with the lights, with the bridge, and with the poles on the other side of east side of the intercoastal. And that's why they selected the teal color for the consistency along Ocean Avenue. That was years ago. I don't know if does anybody remember
You are
that?
correct.
Yeah, I remember those discussions that the commissioners had at that time, and I just wondered why are we deviating from that?
I think I couldn't answer that. That everything that has been put in since then has been on every new project's been black on Federal, right downtown.
Yeah, I
So-
can understand that, but I'm just talking about that particular corridor. The discussion that with the commissioners at that time, because I remember the discussion, I was sitting out there, was that we want Ocean Avenue, the bridge, and all the way to A1A to have this certain look and feel. And that's why that color was selected. Now, I understand other projects going with the black and no problem, okay? But I believe that discussion was had here on the dais with
They can be
it's, 6 in
repainted
one
too.
and a half
Absolutely,
dozen
they could be repainted the existing
that's,
color.
Any
that's
color
what I
you want.
remember.
We've been basing this on some of the discussions with city staff and other, directions and other meetings. It really has been offered to you as a suggestion to try to blend some of that. The 500 Ocean project is putting in black lights across from Ocean
Quite honestly,
Avenue.
I like the teal on Ocean Avenue
Yeah.
from Seacrest all the way to A1A.
Okay, so your suggestion would be that we'd go with teal instead
Yes.
of black.
Yes.
So
Okay.
repaint teal and.
Let me-
and- okay.
I have a concern with the motion on the floor. The motion on the floor is to go ahead and do the $405,000, and yet I've heard staff tell me they don't have that budgeted. They're like $160,000 short, but they gave some suggestions. The best suggestion they had was only saving $52,000, so we're still $100,000 or more short. Now you're telling us that under new business there might be a budget amendment where you're going to tell us you're going to find some money in the budget and move it, and so I don't want to vote on this motion before I know where the money's coming from and what we're going to give up on the other end.
Yes, sir.
So I would ask the board to hold off on this motion until we, or go ahead now and in conjunction with this, talk about this budget amendment and what money you're going to take from where to try and make up the difference here. I need to know that before I could vote on this, because you're telling me you don't have it right now.
Hey, could I say something?
Go ahead.
What I read, Susan has the money. Where she's getting it from, and I guess, Susan, you're going to define it. It was some of the examples that I mentioned in my conversation before, but by your having, I'll use the term shortfalls from this to this to this, we do have the money.
Well, I haven't heard where
Need to
yet.
have
That's what
it.
I'm
It was
asking
in the
for.
backup.
I'm asking to have it here.
Like I said,
Tell
it
us.
was in the
Difficult
backup.
order of things. You're absolutely right. That was a
Can
challenge for
we
staff
hear
and the
from
agenda as
Susan?
well.
Susan, you want to tell us where you're going to get the money?
Susan Harris, Finance Director. Yes, our funding sources are twofold. We have $173,285 in last year's budget for some project closeout. Those project closeouts specifically are the Marina Phase 2 and also the parking lot. In addition, as part of that 173, we have $112,000 from the Cornerstone Preserve DIFA that was not utilized last year. That developer has yet to come with us for a performance audit for that. So that's $173,285. For that, to move that money from last year to this year, we need a budget amendment. That's one source of funding. The other source of funding is from this year's current budget, totaling $618,665, and that's from three sources. Those three sources are the closeout of the Marina Phase 2. We had in this year's budget $386,000 for that closeout, and after everything is spent on that, we'll have $185,000 that we can reallocate towards this, if this is what you choose. The other one is $100,000 in the Preserve Cornerstone DIFA. Again, that was April 1st was the deadline for them, the developer, to get us that information. They have not, as I said, ever given us any information, so we can use that $100,000. The third and final item is $333,665 from the Town Square budget line item. We had $500,000 in that for this year's budget. We've only used a little bit of that money. Even if we take that $333,000 and allocate it towards these projects and economic development grants, we would still have $135,000 left in the Town Square project line item. So the funding needs that are before you tonight, there's really three things. There's the Ocean Avenue lighting project. We need $160,000 to be able to fund the project fully as you originally saw, the original bid. We need $125,000 for the welcome signage. Again, for that would be everything in that. We wouldn't have to cut back on anything. And we do need over $500,000 in economic development grants, which we can go through in more detail. But we have the money for those three items by taking money from last year, moving it to this year, and reallocating the budget items that I mentioned.
You mentioned the preserve. Don't you have 2 years of 100,000 coming out of there?
We have 112,000 from last year
And
and 100,000
oh,
from
okay.
this year.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Those dates have passed, correct? They
Yes,
can't.
they can't come to us. They can come to us next year, but they have to come to us by April 1st.
So to follow up with that, if you choose one of the options that we've done on the value engineering side, that $160,000 gap that we're in now could be reduced to 95, which then frees up $50,000 or plus dollars of what she just went through that doesn't have to be taken from Town Square or could be added to grants. So you do have an opportunity to save some money on the project, or if we have identified a way to do it. It's completely, again,
Okay.
up to you.
All right, so basically, what we're saying here, if we're going to, I'll get you here. If we approve this as the motion on the floor is, then we're almost going to have to approve this budget amendment down here to make this happen. Matt McRae?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to interject on what Board Member Hayes said. When the bridge was put over on Ocean Avenue, it was a vote by the commissioners that, the colors of Ocean Avenue be teal. That's the first comment. Okay, the second comment, you're talking about storing poles and fixtures, et cetera. Can somebody tell me where you all going to store those?
He was taking those to their facility, their storage facility. They seem to be on board with that option for other lights that they may be able to use those parts for. But again, if the challenge for us is to move them to the west side and eliminate 5 poles, then we certainly can.
Mike, excuse me. Let's stop right here. Question I asked is, where will we store them? You said that the city has the facility. That's all I need to hear,
Yes,
sir. Thank you.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
I'm good.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, there's a motion.
I'd like to amend my motion to specify that the poles remain teal.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the motion on the floor is to approve the $405,000 dollars for this project and with the amendment that the poles be painted teal. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
A motion is
talk about
second to that
that?
effect.
Correct.
Discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss it. That's why we have a CRA. Their staff is the ones to design, create, and present to us. Color coordination, with some of the people I know, that's their specialty. And you may say it's only a lighting pole, but the word that sometimes I question what goes on is the word change. Change is healthy. Change is looking at the present to what the future is going to be. And I look at some of the staff who works for the CRA. As I got to know them, their taste and their knowledge is correct for today and tomorrow. So I'm for the budget, the amount of money, but I'm not against their suggestion of black, because that represents what's moving forward, not the past, which unfortunately some people live in the past.
Mr. Chair.
I'm in favor. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Commissioner, Board Member Merker, I am going to disagree with you. Sure, we have staff, but we also have elected officials who set up here and made that decision. I'm excited about change, but if you go out and look at Ocean Avenue, teal was what we voted on, and we had a reason for voting on teal. Check out the bridge, sir. I'm just saying black would not go over there. I don't care what they say. Everything black don't look good, sir.
I disagree.
Mr. Chairman, if we vote on this now, this eliminates the tree lighting, is that correct? Is that what we're
No, we're saying
No.
go like total, saying total, what the
Right.
motion is. Yes.
Right.
I like eliminating the tree lighting, and I also like the idea of the LED, so I can't support the motion as current.
Okay. Mr. Hay, did you have anything else?
No,
Okay.
I
Okay, we
withdraw.
have, the motion as stated was to go with the $405,000 plus make the color teal, and there was a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
So the motion passes 5-2, correct? Yes.
Can I just be on the record for I'm for the change of color, but I'm voting for the budget amount. I just like to be quoted, that's all.
Either for the
You just
motion or
voted
you
for it.
against.
Oh, I
You
did, yeah, I
voted
know
for
that.
it.
But it could, a paragraph, an amendment,
They don't want
a
to
section.
the lights from multicolor.
It's done.
Okay.
5-2, it's approved. Next one is consideration of value engineering and funding options for the city welcome signage project.
Evening Board, Mike Simon, Assistant Director with the CRA. The item before you is the consideration of the value engineering and funding options for the city's or the CRA's welcome signage project. The board approved releasing of an invitation to bid for this project after approving the signs and the project itself. They also approved funding in the amount of $165,850 for the project in this year's budget. When the responses came back from the invitation to bid, Collage Design Construction Group was chosen as the lowest bidder. Their bid for the project as designed was $243,472, and with the contingency created a funding gap in the amount of $125,000. The board, having selected the contractor, directed the contractor staff and the design firm of Kimley Horn to meet again, go over some opportunities for the value engineering, and that is what we've presented to you in the attached options 1 and 2. Again, a brief overview of the project. It's fairly simple again in its components. There's not a lot of things to remove or to always can add, but not a lot to take out of that have a really significant impact in cost. The south welcome sign there is on your left, looking at the slide. That's the intended sign for the south end in front of the Royals there, kind of directly across from Walmart in the median. And the existing coquina-style wall at the just north of the C-16 canal would be renovated to look similar to what you see on the right-hand side.
Mike, excuse me, if you could go back to that one for a minute.
Yes, sir.
The one on the left there, the little white thing that looked like a little flower or something on the left.
It's the sailfish.
Yeah, sailfish.
Yes, sir.
What is that made of?
It's an aluminum. It's a 2-inch thick aluminum. Yes, sir.
Okay, because I'm just thinking about hurricanes.
Oh, no, it has to meet all of, that's why it's not an inexpensive sign, because it has to meet 170-mile-an-hour wind loads and other types of things.
Let's pray we never have that.
The foundation can handle a lot more than the sign from the footer.
Basically, we're doing the same thing here we do with the lighting, where you're saying you're going to make up the difference with this budget amendment, correct? So that's just to cut it short, get to the point here. So, is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. And so the motion is to approve it as presented.
Just because I think they're asking for permission to approve a contract as well, if you could just read the motion in terms of the recommendation of staff, if that's the will of the board, to include the entering into a contract agreed upon by staff and this reviewed by the CRA attorney.
The maker of the motion okay with that wording?
So moved.
Okay.
Whoever made the motion.
Yeah. Discussion.
Mike, this $125,000 gap, is that coming out of the numbers that we talked about a little earlier, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how much have we made up so far?
You've made up 125,000 plus the 160, so that's 285,000.
So we're taking the 285,000 out of the numbers we talked about.
Which could you want to directly know where that 185 came from? What makes up the 185?
Already know. She's
Okay.
already covered.
Because there are pieces that you can choose not to
Fitzpatrick?
approve, obviously.
What's the lighting source for this? Are we doing LEDs on these or not?
We don't use LEDs.
Jonathan, do you have? Yes.
Yes, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Thank you. Okay, consideration of development agreement teams with H.H. Boynton LLC for Ocean Breeze East. It was tabled. Is there a motion to move from the table?
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. We have come to an impasse here. And I spoke to Steve Michael today, and he's coming to the podium, and I think he's going to I'll let him give the message.
Hi, Steve Michael, Hudson Holdings, 20 South Swinton Avenue, Delray Beach. I'm here actually personally to inform you that, regrettably, after careful consideration and between our company, that we have decided that we're going to pull out of the RFP. not for a lack of interest in investing in Boynton Beach, because we have a great interest in Boynton Beach and a great interest in investing. At this time, we've made the decision that timing for us and the ability to compete with potential credit projects as a market rate project makes it a little difficult for us. I wanted to say that working with Vivian and Michael has been an absolute pleasure. Very professional, most professional we've dealt with any municipality. And it does, come to us. It's regrettable that we came to this conclusion, but we have to for our own reasons. And I do want to thank everybody on the board for giving us the opportunity to be here and to try to bid on this project. And if this does come back to an RFP, we will hopefully come back with a more redesigned, a more well thought out plan that we feel that would be a better project for the city and for us. But I do want to thank everybody.
Mr. Michaels, I just like to say I'm really disappointed. I believe that you and your company, you kept this online for months and months. You could have. I don't think your heart was ever in this project. You changed partners a few times between Auburn and Renaissance, back and forth. Your lack of communication with the CRA director on numerous occasions. The only reason why I'm even listening to this is because the CRA board is gave you that benefit of the doubt. I wanted to throw the towel in months ago. I'm really disappointed for a company, a well-known company like you and your reputation and all, and how you kept this board and the city of Boynton Beach on the line like this with, in my opinion, with no intent to ever moving forward with this project for whatever reasons. And for that, I'm very disappointed.
Go ahead.
I totally agree with Vice Mayor Casello. You're double talking. You double talk then, you're double talking now. What it is you want a certain dollar amount, you thought you can hose it in, you didn't get it, and therefore you're walking. Make it simple, make it to the point. You hurt the city, your credibility hurt the city, and I don't know what the other company on what they feel, I can't speak for them, but you're double talking. It's that simple.
McCray.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Steve Michael, yes, sir. I represent over there, and I am disappointed, but I'm not going to beat up on you, sir. I'm just saying I thought you was doing everything in due diligence for whatever the reason, sir. Hopefully when you come back, but I am disappointed too, but I am not going to say it in a harsh tone, but I'm just saying I thought this was going to go forward. I gave you my blessings, I'm just saying, and perhaps you didn't hear my blessings, but I'm just saying, sir, perhaps if anything else comes back, I'm just saying we could do business. I'm just saying, I don't want you to walk away being mad with all of us. Thank you, sir.
Fitzpatrick.
Well, I'm a little disappointed the way things worked out, but I thank you for coming and telling us in person instead of just sending a letter.
Thank you.
Board Member Hay.
I'm too disappointed, but I never thought from the beginning that you were really serious about the project, as I stated at one of our meetings. But if you were to come back with a better program and we evaluate it, you still have a foot in the door. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm disappointed also, but what we need to do is go from here and looking to Vivian for suggestions on how to proceed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you
Michael.
very much.
We'll work together one day. My recommendation is that we reappraise the property, given the current upzoning allowed under the updated Heart of Boynton plan, and that we list the property on LoopNet, which is a commercial multiple listing service, which we are a member of, and we link it to the Heart of Boynton plan, and we get interested developers, we negotiate with them, and we bring the best possible proposal to you. The RFP process has its limitations because it doesn't allow the creativity of the developer to come through, because we often frame it the way we want to frame it too closely, and it doesn't allow for some market creativity. Then what will happen is, then at that point, if you find somebody that you like and we're going to enter into an agreement with, we do the notice of intent to dispose of property. There's nothing that requires us legally to issue an RFP. I just want you to understand that. That is one process of getting rid of property under a CRA. But using the commercial LoopNet, I think will get a much wider audience. There is literally very few residential sites left in Palm Beach County to develop, and I think we will have no problem getting a better price and a stronger developer very quickly. We can get it appraised probably within 3 weeks. Where's Bob? 3 weeks, Bob? Mr. Banty. And I think we could get a much better return on our property, and a developer who perhaps would be more willing to come to the table. We've been at this since July, trying to get something, and we've been pushing, and I don't really think that's the normal way. A developer really wants to develop. Time is money for developers. So I think we'll get a better response.
Let me ask you a question. When someone comes before you a first time, a second time, and a third time, they basically know what they want. I mean, it's, I'm making it maybe too simplistic, but I don't think I am, in the sense, a person knows that he owns something. He wants X amount of dollars for it. It's his decision to say yay or nay. This was the second time that, that it was stalled. So my point is, you know what you know, and I'm not questioning that, but I am questioning on who's coming towards the city. It's very nice to make nice, but the point is the person credible? Is he credible not just financially, but is he credible with his word? That when he says yes, it's yes. This was not a stalling period once. It was more than once. So I think that has to be considered. To bring back someone that's wasting our time, I don't know if he's credible.
Well, that's up to you. That's up to the board.
I know.
That really is.
I know.
Okay, what
Chair?
kind of motion we need just to kill this?
Yeah, and
I'm asking
negotiate.
the legal there.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Chair, if I could make a comment, if that's okay?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. David Katz, 67 Midwood Lane, Boynton Beach. I'd like to offer an alternative suggestion that you allow the other respondent to the RFP to come forward to you next month and show their project again or what they want to offer. Now, I'm not saying to approve them or bring them right to the table, but let them represent and then make a decision based on that instead of rushing off and doing something else. I don't think another month would hurt anything. Thank you.
Attorney, what do we need to do to take this off the agenda?
If you want to terminate formally negotiations with H.H. Boynton based on their withdrawal from negotiations, I would make a motion to that effect.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second as spoken. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So the motion is unanimous. Now, do we want to pursue what the directors talked about
I do. I'm in favor of it.
that way?
I have
Sure.
a question.
Go ahead.
That company was in the papers between ownership, between finances, and I believe being in question. You're talking about Auburn, right?
No, we're talking about going out like she said.
I'm sorry.
What she talked about.
I'm all wrong. I'm sorry.
Just
I do it.
go ahead.
I just want to ask the question, why wouldn't we go back and reconsider the ones that, because they had good projects, would that not be an alternative that we want to consider as to take a look at that?
We only had 2 responses last time. That was Auburn and
Right.
Hudson Holdings.
Hudson Holdings.
And Auburn did not offer us anything for our property either. So what I'm saying is, in this market right now, I think we can do a little better. And I think we should try to do a little better. The market is very good for property right now, for residential property. And
Under your proposal, Auburn could still apply.
Sure,
still
why
apply.
not?
They could
Of
still
course they
come in.
can. There's no stopping them.
Yeah, they can do that, yeah.
Okay.
I just have a question. Why wouldn't we want to put an RFP? We can frame the discussion like the parameters that we'd want to go in there, whether than just people putting it out there and people coming in with, God only knows with what. This way here, we can frame the discussion where we want to go with that property, no?
Well, that's what you're saying. If you do that, you're going for RFP, and then you limit who
Right, you
can come
limit
in
yourself.
because they have to go to your thing. But this way, it opens it up, and
Well,
developers come and say, "Here's what I can do for you."
I know, but an RFP, that's everything in an RFP is negotiable. There's just certain benchmarks they have to meet. It's not etched in stone in an RFP.
Well, I will caution you that
Thank you.
when we got a response to this RFP, and then when it started to negotiate differently, many board members
We
were
just had a bad
unhappy.
negotiator on the other end.
Well, then a lot of board members were saying, oh, it's changed. Well, it does change. So it's better that you negotiate up front, I think, sometimes, and get what you want, and then go through that process up front. Perhaps it might be a better outcome.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, I see no
Yes.
downside to throwing it out there and see who responds and how. Once again, we don't have to approve anything that's brought before us. So why not, let it all come forward and go from there.
Well, we're suggesting you're in agreement with what the
Absolutely.
executive director proposed.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Okay. All in favor of that?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
So the motion passes 6-1. Okay, that takes us to item D. Is there a motion removed from the table?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Show the motion unanimous. Consideration of interested parties for 480 and 211 East Ocean Avenue.
Hi, I'm down here. I'm gonna do a little quick presentation on these properties, just for the public mostly. I just want to remind everybody why we're doing these projects. It's to add activity to Ocean Avenue. That's why we bought them. To convert non-active uses like the parking lot, and this was a residential, the other one was a parking lot, to activate them, add to the tax rolls, which is our job as a CRA, maintain the historic character, create an identity for Ocean Avenue, and encourage other businesses to invest there as well. The process. This is not a request for proposals. We are seeking qualified interested parties through a commercial broker. The process is open until the board decides to close it or selects a party. So in other words, as long as you guys say, keep coming, stop, go, it's open. Qualified credit businesses that will activate Ocean Avenue and are sustainable. So that's the process. 480 East Ocean Avenue, built out as a restaurant through the CRA, except for a hood. Seating capacity for 75 per code. Appraised at 190 without the land. The land is valued at 153 on the property appraiser's website. We have not appraised it together because, as you know, the city owns the land and we own the improvements. That's about to change. Qualified interested parties for 480 East Ocean Avenue right now. Today is Salvatore Campanelli for a Little Pizza Shack. Bruce Kaplan, local development company, he wants to do craft beer and pizza. Rodney Mayo, he's still trying to figure out what concept he has. And 211 East Ocean Avenue.
I'm going to have to stop you back up on the slide.
Okay.
Okay, you said Rodney Mill, he's still trying to figure out.
Well,
That's what
he
you
has a
said.
lot of restaurants in Palm Beach County, and he does different concepts all over the county. I don't know if you're familiar with his, he has a lot of restaurants.
Well, I'm just saying, but what you're saying, it kind of be misleading to me. I'm just saying, you're telling me he's trying to figure out something.
He will
Just don't say it.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
He was able to come in late because it's not,
Correct. We listed the property with a broker, so there's not a beginning and end until you say, we don't want to do this anymore. We've picked somebody, or we're done.
I have a question.
wait, excuse me. How do I phrase it as a question? Do you think that's professionally correct when you've had people come here, say who they are, fill out the paperwork, and then all of a sudden Tom Jones decides he's got nothing better to do, so he wants to buy a piece of land? I mean, the idea is these other people, these other companies, whomever we wind up doing, that's the only thing that I found upsetting, is the fact that Joe Blow, be more specific, can come from left field and all of a sudden come into the picture after all the time.
I will let legal speak to that.
There is no, at this point, there's no legal reason that you can't consider someone brought to you by the consultant that you hired to be doing these
How
services.
about professionalism?
That's beyond my scope of advice.
Okay.
I would say that it's a criteria to consider in who you select ultimately to move forward with.
Do we have, I think this is illegal, do we have the right meaning the CRA Board, to say no to this party or anybody else because of what I'm suggesting. He's a late bloomer. Everyone else has started to do the work. Do we have the right, or could we be legally in trouble if we said no to Mary Hamburger Place who wants to come in?
The CRA, as a board, has a duty to dispose of property for the best interest of the CRA. If it's your determination that the process, that is a criteria that bears on the process for you, that is within the board's discretion. I would caution that when you're making selections, that they be based on the public, the interest of the CRA plans that have been adopted, and other criteria that you've outlined, and not something completely off base. But if that is a consideration that bears on your decision, it's within the board's discretion.
I think it's a discretion, and it's a reflection on the board and the city when these other businesses wanted to come in, did everything they wanted to, they were at the meeting. I mean, personally, it's up to the rest, but I think the door should have been shut.
Vivian, excuse me, could you back up a couple of slides?
Mm-hmm.
Right there, land valued at 155. Where'd you get that number, 53,000?
That, because we don't own the land at 480, the only place I can get it from is the property appraiser. Remember, the city owns the land currently. The city commission just approved transferring it to the CRA.
Okay, that's not the way we did 211 though, as far as the
No,
land.
we, by state statute, have to perform an appraisal when we're going to transfer land or possibly sell or give land at below market value.
And because we don't own this land, we have to go what's the property appraiser
Yeah,
saying the
we-
land's
yeah.
worth.
So-
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, continue.
So those are the three that have met the qualifications that were in Exhibit A of the listing agreement. Those are the people that met the qualifications.
Does the board want to go ahead and decide on this before we move to the other one?
You want to hear these people now?
Well, that's why I'm asking the board if they want to decide one before we go to the other
Well,
one.
since some of them are interested in both
Well,
properties.
that's all right, we'll hear them again.
Yeah,
on the
some of
next
them are
one.
both.
Yeah,
And
two different subject.
We can hear them again, you know.
It's two
so-
different subject matters.
I have wasn't one of the criteria you had to have a business plan attached to your proposal?
No, that wasn't a
part of it?
business plan.
Okay.
A concept, a business, not everybody had a full business plan, not everybody really,
Is that part of the criteria to
No.
submit?
no, it
That
was
never,
not.
so
No.
so if you didn't put a business plan in, it didn't matter?
No, they didn't have to
Okay.
have a full business
Thank you.
plan, no.
You want to,
Do you want to hear, they're going to get 5 minutes to speak?
yeah,
Do you
they'll each
wanna-
get 5 minutes to
Okay.
speak.
Yes,
Anybody else
yes,
wants to
yes.
address it gets 3
Okay.
minutes.
Yes.
Okay,
Can I ask a question? And I'm not trying to be argumentative or, I'm hearing two different things as far as what was defined and what wasn't defined.
in your backup is
Yeah,
highlighted Exhibit A.
Yeah.
And it's highlighted.
Yeah, I
So
saw.
in your backup is an exhibit to so you can look at what the criteria was.
Yeah, I have all my notes, but again, that's the one thing, again, I just question. How do you buy something from a city, a county, or a state without a plan? Because if I had the ultimate, it was a benevolent dictatorship, and you take the word benevolent out, it was a dictatorship, I would still want to see a plan on what is going to be. If this piece of land, Ocean Avenue, from Seacrest down is such a major piece that we all think of, and we hired Treasurer Coase and spent $60,000 for them to give us ideas for the future, how do you not have a plan? And that's the only thing I don't understand.
Well, people have concepts, but not necessarily a business plan is a very detailed financial plan. And I will tell you that a couple of these people don't have that. A couple of people did have it. It was not a requirement.
Okay, I'm not saying. I'm just saying,
Right.
personally speaking, that if you have a piece of land and a major piece of land, then to me, it just seems obvious that you would want them to present something not just for today, but for the future too. And does it fall into the master plan or whatever?
What we did ask for is their financial ability,
That's different.
the proof that they can do it with finances.
That's
And
different.
that really is where the rubber meets the road. Because you can write a business plan that says the most wonderful things in a wonderful computer program that says your business is going to be fabulous. Believe me, I've seen them all the time. But the reality is, if you can't show you have the money to do the project,
Right, money talks and you know what walks. But that's not the issue. There's two parts. It's the idea that someone owns it and can buy it outright without borrowing maybe, or borrowing and having the credit. And then there's the second part, what are you going to put on the land?
We're going to hear that.
No, but that's not what I'm saying.
they all have concepts. They all have a
But that should
concept.
be part of what's going to be, if we're spending this kind of money to design a street, how do you not have a plan from part A to part B to part C, part D? Two of the parties already said, they got the money. That's great. But I want to know what they're going to put up. It's like buying an empty piece of land. You don't want that. Another question is, should the city even own land? So the idea, what you said at the last meeting, I agree with you, we shouldn't own the land. But because it's such an important piece of land, you should have a plan, plus the money.
I would caution everyone not to get hung up on the concept of what they're going to cook there, as opposed to their ability to get the project done. Everybody makes great X, right? But the problem is, can you take this project from point A to point Z? That is where the real issue is in these projects, because these are old buildings. This project doesn't need as much money. The next one needs a lot of money. If we get hung up on what we like as food, we're going to miss the crux of the matter, which is who can take this project from point A to point Z and get it activated in time for season. Season will be here before we know it. This, particularly 211, has to go through most likely site plan approval, which is 4 months.
We ain't there yet. Let's move on, because
Okay.
we're not at 211
All right,
yet. Patrick?
I have a question of legal. I don't feel real comfortable about really doing this until the CRA actually owns the land. So I would rather consider 14D, consideration of approval, before we vote on 480, just to be in the right order. Am I incorrect? Does it matter?
Well, it may very well matter to you. Legally, I think that what is happening at this point is you're hearing presentations from proposers who have been selected out of those who've come forward on the two pieces of property. And the goal of that is for the board to choose someone to move forward to negotiate with. So the terms can be based on an assumption that you own the property, and we will have to go back and sit with that person and negotiate something to come forward with you with. So this isn't the end-all, be-all of this process. It's just the beginning of starting conversations. So from a legal perspective, I don't think you need to consider that first. If you'd like to,
Okay.
you can move
Thank you.
and amend.
We can do it
Mr.
if you're
Chair.
more comfortable.
No,
I don't have a problem with it.
I just heard from the
Okay.
attorney,
You all right?
no problem.
Okay, yes, McCray.
Thank you, sir. I was under the assumption that they were supposed to have presented a business plan, but I want to go ahead and move forward, because I'm just saying we have one board member who's dialoguing with the director. I'm just saying it's getting off the subject. I'm just saying we need to kind of stay on target and move forward.
It isn't
I
off the
agree.
subject. One is money
Sir,
and one
all
is
right,
a
sir,
plan.
sir.
It's two separate
All right,
subject
we
matters.
understand your concerns. We understand your concerns.
We need to
I just
move.
want to mention, I don't think I did earlier, I did meet with Tara Sinclair, and I met with Salvatore Caminile, too. I've met with both of them before.
Would it be okay if everyone got to present and then hold questions till the end, or how do you want to do it that way?
That's fine, and
Could
then
we
if
do
we
it
have a
one-
question, we can call them back up.
But could we do 480
Yeah,
first?
we're going to do
Yeah,
480.
480
Okay,
first.
Mr. Campanelli, can you come up, please? Come to the podium. Thank you.
Good evening.
In response to Mr. Merker, I was under the impression there was a deadline in March to present our concept, our plan, and Mr. Massini urged me to get everything in by a certain date, otherwise it wouldn't be considered. So just want to put that down for the record. I don't mind competition. I've been used to competition my whole life. So I want to get on with what I want to do at 480. My name is Salvatore Campanelli. I'm a chef. I'm a master pizza chef. I trained at the Naples Institute of Culinary Arts and Hotel Management. My pizzas, and I'm known as the pizza guy, but it's a little more than pizza. As a master pizza chef, I'm part of an association in Italy, in Naples, called l'Associazione Verace Pizza Napoletana. Their goal is to preserve the old and the way of making pizza. I adhere to their strict culinary guidelines. My pizzeria in Delray Beach is very successful. I own Mastino Wood Fire Pizza Kitchen. We opened in October. We were voted best pizza of Palm Beach County in November out of roughly 600 pizzeria restaurants in the county. It's a very unique style pizza. I don't know if anyone in here has ever had pizza napoletana, but we first of all, you have to have an oven from Naples, Italy. I bring in a 5,000-pound handcrafted oven made of volcanic brick and mortar, a fork mixer made in Italy. We use very high-quality ingredients like first cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, San Marzano tomatoes. We make our own mozzarella cheese, and our buffalo milk mozzarella is flown in twice a week from Italy. So this is not just pizza. It's actually part of the Mediterranean diet, and it's considered a superfood because of the ingredients like the San Marzano tomatoes, which have 5 times the antioxidant level of a regular tomato. But I could keep going on and on about this pizza. It's my passion. I've been doing it since I was 12 years old. I grew up in Naples, Italy. My family, I've been in the family business my whole life. We still have businesses there. We produce olive oil, wine, mozzarella, and great food is a way of life in Naples. It's not a concept. It's just how everybody grows up. My plan for 480 is to create a pizzeria napoletana, to create authentic wood-fire pizza. Besides pizza, we do brick oven panini, flatbreads, fire-roasted limoncello wings, farm salads, so on and so forth. I don't want to go through the whole menu, but I think 480 is the ideal location for a destination pizzeria. My last pizza project before Mastino was in the Keys, Sugarloaf Key. We took an abandoned landmark restaurant, tavern, where 5 people had failed before me. I had a lot of naysayers. It was a huge project, 6,000 square feet on the water in a very environmentally sensitive area. We executed our plan. I have a very specific plan that I do before I open a place. I create a lot of buzz. I do a lot of press releases. And by the time we opened our doors, we had a line out the door. We had a 2-hour waiting list to get in, and that was a 250-seat restaurant. So my plan for 480, and I didn't just stumble upon it this week. I've been looking around Boynton for a year. I'm a resident for 10 years. I have 4 kids. We live on Chapel Hill Boulevard. I'm very, very interested in Ocean Avenue. I see, and I saw last year, a lot of potential. What Ocean Avenue needs is a lot of foot traffic. We need we need a couple of destination restaurants and eateries, places where people socialize. and can enjoy craft beer.
You need your 5 minutes up. You need to wrap. You need to end up.
Okay. Anyway, that's my plan for 480. For 211.
We'll be back. We'll call you back for that.
Oh, okay.
We're going to call. We just
Okay.
wanted 480.
And that's it. I'll wrap this up by saying I have made my bones in this business. This business is not only, a romance about food. You have to be a businessman. You have to know what your food costs are. You have to know what your labor costs are. You have to know what your fixed costs are. And then you have to be able to go from concept to execution, which is, there's an ocean between a concept and an execution.
Thank you.
But I've done it already. And
Thank you.
one last thing, between the two places, I plan on creating at least 40 new jobs in Boynton Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not now.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Christian Prakis. I'm one of the brokers for the board for these two properties. I'm actually going to be representing a local development company on their behalf tonight because they couldn't be here. They're in Philadelphia on business, and they couldn't send anybody here tonight. I have a fiduciary relationship to the board and to the people that are presenting to give you guys the material facts and present the offers to the best of our ability. So that being said, Bruce Kaplan of
I
local.
have a question.
Yes.
No, this is a pertinent question. If the owner, the person who wants to buy is not present, then why should we hear from a third party, let alone someone we hired?
He's our broker.
I don't care. He doesn't own it. It's not his money.
I'm just presenting on his behalf. He did.
I don't think you should.
I'm allowing him to.
That's
speak.
another thing. We allow things. You're not the owner. You don't have the money. It's absurd.
Excuse me. I'm allowing him to speak. Go ahead, sir.
I
Sorry for the
apologize if you
interruption.
feel that way. No problem. He was here in the last meeting and
Yes.
presented. It's just the same. I'm just going over just so the board has
Why are you here
the
if
facts
it's the
fresh.
same?
Okay. For 480, local development company would like to implement a craft beer and artisan pizza concept, and at that they have actually upped their offer on the property to $325,000, all cash to close, and they're requesting no incentives from the CRA. That being said, they would like to. They would like to see if the incentive for the hood system is going to be there. If not, they have no problem putting that in themselves. They're going to bring in a professional partner that has expertise in that concept to run it. They've invested a lot of money in South Florida recently. They bought a big project in Delray. They're zoning experts. They're rezoning a 3.5-acre piece in Delray on Federal Highway right now. And I also just sold them a restaurant in Delray Beach that they brought in a famous operator from Atlantic City to operate. So they do have the experience. And I don't want to take up too much of your time on 480. Everybody has put their offer in. They've shown the financial wherewithal to do the project. You guys all have that in your package. So that being said, I'll talk about 211 when we get to it.
Thank you. Rodney Mayo.
Hi, Board. My name is Paul Snitkin. I'm with Anderson & Carr in West Palm Beach, and I represent Rodney Mayo. Rodney is here in the audience, but chose to have his agent speak for him. My company's been in business in West Palm Beach since 1920. I've been with the company since 1986, and that has a unique factor because Rodney Mayo was also in business in 1987 in downtown West Palm Beach. The one most important thing that we've noticed over the years in commercial real estate and hospitality industry is restaurateurs and restaurants. It's all about the operator. Rodney Mayo is a proven winner. He's had multiple restaurants in Palm Beach County, approximately 15 restaurants right now. He has brought back to life the 500 block in Clematis Street with 3 different concepts there. He was a pioneer in Delray Beach with multiple units there, and he wants to do the same thing in Boynton Beach. We believe Rodney and the Subculture Group is a huge asset for East Ocean Avenue corridor, and he has always and will continue to be very creative with the space he has to work with, and extremely important to both buildings we're currently discussing due to their size and complexity about the layout in them. 480 East Ocean Avenue. This is a small building on a good-sized site with some parking. We have 3 concepts that we're considering for this location, one of which would be an old Florida raw bar and casual eatery. This will be similar to Conky Joe's in Jensen Beach, Florida. As you walk inside, you'll notice a local fisherman's chalkboard on the wall, and also craft beers with fresh sandwiches made to order and fresh salads. A true seafood stop with a rustic feel. Also, we'd like to consider a real chic pizzeria with a wood-burning oven similar to our predecessors. This is a new concept for Rodney, but he will be truly creative in this also. It's a great place for locals and all others to enjoy incredible pizza. The entire wood-fired menu will be prepared fresh daily without help of freezers or microwave ovens. No corners will be cut. And also, once again, a wide range of craft beers, wines, and homemade desserts. Another concept that we're considering, probably one of the strongest ones, is the Subculture Coffee. This features fresh coffees roasted in-house daily, along with teas, whole beans for sale, and other tasty treats. By partnering with small, ecological-minded farmers, Subculture aims to offer customers an organic, socially responsible, sustainable product, and the venue will be warm and quaint, just as a good coffee joint should be. They also have craft beers and wine on their menu here, too. They currently have locations on Clematis Street in West Palm Beach in the 500 block, as mentioned earlier, and also they just opened a new store last week on East Atlantic in Delray Beach. Rodney Mayo currently employs 315 employees. Of those employees, they all have friends, and they all frequent all his restaurants. Every one of Rodney's restaurants are extremely successful, and we look forward to doing the same thing here in East Boynton. Okay?
Thank you. Before you go away now, we're going to open up for questions, so I'm going to go in reverse order since you're already up there.
Okay.
Who has questions of this proposer? May I ask Mr. Merker?
The questions I'm going to ask now will be for everybody the same questions. Number 1, have you been contacted by a lobbyist?
No.
Have you been contacted by a member of the city board other than the CRA?
No.
Okay. That solves that problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
I-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Thank you. I have one with the fish, coffee, and pizza. Is that what's going to be offered there? I'm just saying because...
No, those are 3 totally separate concepts. We haven't made our mind up as far as the concept that we think will work perfect here on East Boynton. We're looking at that location as literally like a hood ornament to the 400 block or the stretch that reaches to Seacrest from Federal. So we're kind of trying to figure out what's going to work best there. Most of our strength right now is with the subculture concept.
Okay, am I going to be correct in assuming that it might be a fish market stuck in there?
No, not a fish market.
Okay,
No.
okay, thank you.
A raw bar.
Okay.
Seafood
Raw bar.
place.
Okay.
Yeah, subculture coffee, like Starbucks?
That's a bad word, actually, Starbucks. No, it's not. It's a very unique, I think in our exhibits did we give them the layout, the breakdown of that? They roast their own coffee on site. All their baked goods that are there are all locally manufactured and presented, no preservatives. Everything is very natural. It's a very hip and very cool scene. If you go to the West Palm Beach or the new Delray location, you'll see what we're talking about. People are hanging out there, enjoying coffee, conversing, having meetings. It's a true destination for a downtown location similar to this, where a lot of businesses and people will go there to meet for conferences or meetings. And it's just it's a great place to actually meet and converse with your neighbors. They're all community tables, and all the products are incredible.
And what would your projected operating hours be?
We'll be open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to midnight.
And how many people do you expect to employ there? Okay. And you currently own 15 restaurants up and operating?
More than 15.
Point of information, if somebody from the audience is going to give answers, they need to come up.
Okay. All right. All right, thank you.
Next questions?
You're proposing to lease the property?
We are proposing a lease with an option to purchase for the first 3 years of our lease. If that is an avenue that you'd be interested in, if not, we would also negotiate in an outright purchase of the property.
Good.
Questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick, I'm sorry.
If there had been the backup provided last meeting, we probably would have already voted and disposed of this property last meeting. So why last minute, where did you guys come from?
Well, we kind of got in the loop at the last second. We have lots of other projects currently working right now. The word got to us kind of late. We did scramble to get it together, and here we are. Better late than never.
And what would you be proposing to lease it for per month?
It's
3,500.
2,200
If you
a
see
month.
the spreadsheet here,
3,200?
2,200. Plus taxes. The
that would be just the only reason for the lease is just to get the startup of the business. Once we're into the business, then obviously we'll move straight to purchase.
And you wouldn't be looking for any incentives from the CRA?
Just the hood that was offered to help us out with the hood.
The hood? Yeah. Were you looking for any other incentives?
No. Well, just some time to get open, to do the initial build out, to install the hood, design changes, and so forth. Take a few months to do. So we are asking for some free time at the beginning of our lease.
What kind of build out are you talking about?
To decorate it to our concept.
I was wondering, you talking about expanding the building or anything?
No, we're looking at
what's
just redecorating the space that's inside and make it similar to our typical subculture type scenario.
Other questions? Well, when we finish with him.
He's finished, yeah, okay.
That's it? Okay. And after we've asked the questions, and if anybody in the public wants to come address any of these, I will give you the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
All set? Thank you.
Okay, that gets us back to Bruce Kaplan, the local development man. Questions for him? Yes, hey.
I'd just like to ask again.
I'll answer whatever I can on their
I understand.
behalf.
We understand.
Okay, we
You're not-
understand. Are you looking to lease or purchase?
They're looking to purchase. Their offer today was actually increased to $325 to show good faith that they want to purchase this property.
And we're offering $250. They're increasing it to $325. Is
Yes.
that correct?
You're a broker of
Yes.
restaurants, like real estate type brokerage?
Yeah.
Would this be considered like a transaction brokerage? You
A
work with both
transactional
parties?
broker, yes.
Chris, have we signed off on that?
As a commercial broker, I don't have to legally have a transition to transactional brokerage. That's only in residential.
In residential?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You know what incentives he wants?
Just the $45,000, as long as he invests over 90 for that was supposed to be used for the hood.
45,000.
I think it was 45,000.
It's the grant for the restaurant. He's referring to the interior build out, but the hood won't be that much. They
Yeah,
have
it's
to match
whatever
it.
the hood's going to cost,
Right.
and they're going to guarantee that they're going to invest over 90,000.
Does the hood cost?
In
It
there, it's
depends
not-
on the size,
It
but
depends on the size, but they're not going to be able to get a big hood in there.
5 foot is what we had looked at.
Yeah. What does that cost, Christian?
It's a ballpark figure?
We didn't get the exact estimate yet. It's going to be a little bit different because it's a slanted roof there. So they have to, there's some special, I don't know the exact terminology. I was there with the hood guy, and they were going to put together an estimate. It hasn't gotten back yet.
Okay.
But it won't be the full $90,000.
No. We're probably 20 to 30
No
range.
way.
Does Mr. Kaplan have people for the craft beer pizza concept already lined up?
Yeah, he has somebody here in South Florida. He also has an operator that he's bringing from Atlantic City, Lou Ventura. He's a famous restaurant operator in Atlantic City that he's bringing down for the project in Del Rey.
And can you divulge the names for here for the Boynton project?
I don't know exactly who he's going to be using. They have a few different restaurateurs that they've worked with previous concepts. So I don't know exactly which one he is going to use, and he doesn't know which one either yet.
Okay, thank you.
Ray?
Thank you, sir. My concern is that tonight we already had one developer that came before us for another project, and they reneged, backed out, made us look kind of, small. If we go with this, I'm just saying, what's the guarantee? I'm just saying, I don't want to hear at the next meeting, he backed out.
I can't guarantee anything. I don't
That's
ever
what I-
guarantee
that's what I need to
anything
hear,
in this
sir.
world, but they were willing to do a very fast close. Talked to Mike Simon today. We actually talked about how the CRA will be preparing the contract. They're willing to move forward as fast as the CRA can get a contract out.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Questions and I have statements. Personally, I don't know how everybody else thinks, but you sound like you're working for him. I'm not finished because you're representing him. The thing I found also interesting is a quote is given to us and now it's raised. Did anyone else get a chance to negotiate and go up and down the scale?
Once Mr. Kaplan saw the public documents that were posted to the CRA's website, that he had, he decided he wanted to raise his offer so that he had the best chance at getting the property.
This is after seeing the others. So did you go back to the others and ask if they wanted to put in another bid?
I didn't go to Mr. Kaplan either to ask him if he wanted to raise his bid. I presented them the documents and that he asked for, and he decided to raise his bid.
Because I'm looking at the piece of paper, I don't see the higher price until you just said it now. So
Yeah,
again,
I brought a copy of a contract for
I
the
didn't
board.
get it, number one. And number two, I find it very, disdainful, the idea that you're speaking for him, selling for him, and we're paying you. Double income, it sounds like. Now I'll ask you the questions I asked before. You shake your head?
Yeah, because it's not.
It's not a matter of not or not, what it looks like.
I apologize that it looks like that. I really wanted Mr. Kaplan or one of his associates to be here tonight. They told me that they couldn't be here.
Well, I
and
guess
this
it's not
was-
important enough.
I wouldn't.
Let me finish my questions. I asked the question, were you contacted by a lobbyist, you, him, or anyone who works for you?
No, I was not.
Were you contacted by a member of the city board or other than the CRA?
No.
Anybody? Okay. I guess that's it. To me, when you want something, you should be there.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Mr. Campanelli? Campanelli, right? That's what I thought.
Campanelli.
I thought I was.
Campanelli.
Campanile.
Question.
Campanile? Oh, we're not, none of us know.
Campanile, see?
Campanile.
Campanelli, it doesn't matter.
Questions?
Okay.
Yes.
I'll start off.
Also, I forgot to mention on 480, I did make an offer to purchase both
Yes.
480 and 211.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
that. I know you do.
We have it.
Just wanted to make sure. I did not receive any paperwork or any notifications that Mr. Kaplan upped the ante, so I just found out about this now.
Okay, we understand. Yes, Mr. Hay.
I think
That was
you
your
just
question?
answered, you said the purchase or lease, right?
No,
No,
I
he
am
wants to
only
purchase.
interested in purchasing.
Only purchase.
Both properties, yes, and developing both properties.
Both properties.
I have a question.
Yes.
What would be your position if you could only purchase one of the two properties?
Well, I wouldn't be as happy.
I'm not happy you made me hungry either, so we're...
I look at, and this is why. We have $1.5 million to put towards these two properties. I was recently involved in a $2 million build-out renovation. You have to be prepared to spend, you have to be ready for the unexpected, and that's why it's the $1.5 million. I mean, are we of course, we're going to try not to use it all up. But 211, I think, is going to be an easy $800,000. That whole place has to be.
Not yet, not 211 yet.
Okay,
Just stick with
back to 480. Anyway, would I accept one? Yes. Would I be happy about it? No. And the reason is this: I look at 211 as a big challenge. It has to be rezoned. I'm not afraid of challenges, but I think that if I need to use 480 as a commissary for food and just say 211 is our is a piazzetta bar, and this is going to be determined by the city of Boynton Beach. The plan for 211 is a full-scale restaurant, open kitchen, bar.
Don't go there yet.
Okay.
480.
480.
Okay, so
We're talking
480.
about 480.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry, I'm confused.
The answer to my question is yes, but you wouldn't be as happy.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go.
Mr. Chairman, I really would like to have asked that question of the last. Do you have an idea if Mr. Kaplan would be satisfied with purchasing one instead of both properties? Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I would just like to make one point on 480 and Mr. Kaplan. I'm not sure why an outsider would be considered. I have a successful operating business in Delray Beach. There's a ton of competition there. I live in Boynton Beach. I live and breathe this business, and I'm an owner-operator. I'm there every day. And I'm not sure why even, I can understand Mr. Kaplan was here at the previous meeting, so he should be considered, but I think if you came to, I do a lot of consulting work, and if you came to me for my advice, I would, whether it's me or anyone else, I would pick an operator that's local and not a developer who.
I have one more question. Are you going to be able to operate your Delray location?
Absolutely.
And a Boynton?
Absolutely, yes.
Costello.
Yes, Mr. Campanelli, you own any other businesses outside this state? Yes. First of all, I've developed and owned successful restaurants in 3 different countries. And if you consider Key West a different country,
currently now, do you have any business up and running now?
Yes, Brooklyn, New York.
So you have a business in New York?
Pazzi Pasta. We have a pasta.
You have a pasta shop up there?
Yes.
Is it pretty successful?
Very successful. We're about to, we're negotiating a rollout in all major airports in the United States.
Great. Do you plan on serving beer and wine at this 480?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to do local craft beer. We're also going to do wine on tap, which I have been experimenting with. It's been extremely popular and profitable, and we're able to sell glasses of wine for $4, $5.
Do you project any type of build-out you're going to need?
Yes.
Change the footprint of the building?
A little bit. I think in Florida,
that's an historical building. You know that's under the...
Yeah, and whatever they'll allow me to do, I can actually get it open and operating the way it is. I think because of the timing, there is time to do a build-out and get ready for October 1st, which is my...
Do you have any idea how big of a build-out you're talking about? Is it 50 square foot?
I think you need air-conditioned space in Florida in order to have a year-round, comfortable place. So I'm looking at adding an extra 800 to 1,000 square feet.
Okay. My last question is, do you know Davey Camilleri?
No, I don't.
Have you had any business dealings with or ever talked to a Davey Camilleri?
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, McRae.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I do recognize that you live in Boynton, which I'm grateful for that. But, your last comments, when you was talking about Mr. Kaplan, I'm just saying, it's kind of like it was an attack. I just don't go, I'm just keeping questions just for you, That was his presenter, and I'm just saying, just talk to us.
Well, the reason I think I'm not attacking anyone. Everyone needs a fair shot. The only comment that I remember from the last meeting was Mr. Kaplan said that he's in the business of flipping properties. And
you know,
Sir, stop right there. We remember that as well. I'm just saying, as far as me, I'm just saying, if I was somebody trying to get a piece of property, I wouldn't want to hear a presenter say anything against,
Worker?
Yeah. If I'm hearing right, you're hands-on, you're going to be working there.
I am hands-on. I write the manuals. I write the employee manuals for procedures, and I'm there every day from build out to opening and beyond. So
Well, the personal touch.
That's correct.
Okay. Next, I'm going to ask you the same questions I'm asking anyone else. Have you been contacted by a lobbyist?
I got a phone call from a Mr. I believe it was Mr. Katz.
David Katz?
David Katz.
Subject matter?
From what I remember, he was on the planning board. He asked me about my project and if I would like to meet with him. I
just want it on the record because it's not a business. We're all volunteers trying to do the best job, not as a separate business. Okay, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey?
Just one last comment from me. I agree with Board Member McCray. You're talking about Mr. Bruce Kaplan, I believe. You ever considered that maybe he has the finances to take the project from beginning to completion? It's why he's been considered. Okay, so just
I apologize.
stick to what you're going to do and say. Okay?
You're right.
Okay. No other questions? At this time, anybody in the public wish to address any of these three? Anybody in the public? Seeing none, I'll return to the board for discussion and comments. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll kick it off if nobody else wants to. My thing is I'm looking for experience, and I think I'm hearing from a couple of them. They have the experience because they're in the business. Mr. Salvatore definitely has experience. So did Mr. Rodney Mayo has some background experience. Bruce Kaplan is basically a developer who's going to try and bring people in who have experience, but he's the developer, not the owner or operator. Another one is mine is my thing is putting feet on the street is what I'm looking to do on Ocean Avenue. I want to put feet on the street, and I think this type of business would do that. I can see that. I remember back when Hurricane Alley started, and the young lady struggled there. I know she struggled because I helped her, and today it's a little gold mine down there. We got a lot of people going there, so that's the kind of thing we want to try and keep experiencing up the street here. I like the idea that they want the ones that want to buy the property, because that puts it on the tax rolls for the city. That's important to me to get it on the tax rolls. I like the fact that Mr. Salvatore here talked about how quickly he could put it into practice and make it working and get it going. I like that. Because I hate to drive by there every day and see an empty spot sitting there. So that's a biggie for me. Having listened to them, I guess I really like I like Mr. Campanelle Niles' project. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Well, I'm looking up the board there, I see each three proposals: pizza, 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 and right here we got the pizza guy. He's a Boynton resident. He's run successful businesses. He's got a track record. I quite like it. Mr. Kaplan, not enough interest. Another meeting. This is the most important meeting, in my opinion. Not here, not a contender. The concept from Mr. Mayo of the cultured coffee, not Starbucks, or a fish market, the flip-flopping around a little bit, I have a little problem with this. Mr. Campanelli, you come in here, you've got a plan, it's your livelihood, you do it well, you've been successful at it, you've got my support.
Thank you.
Matt Gray. Nick?
Thank you, sir. Sir, the reason I wanted to stop you was because I didn't want nobody to think of whatever I say or do, I was swayed by your comments, okay, because I'm not. But anyway, you are Boynton residents. That's first. Secondly, you said 40 new jobs. That's what I like to hear,
Correct.
new jobs, people working. Thank you.
I do have one question. What's your offer for 480?
The offer for 480 was
305,000.
305,000.
305.
That's your only question? Yeah, Worker?
Yeah. As I said earlier, well, I like the personal touch. You're here, there. We could touch you. We can talk to you. You've had the respect to be here when you were supposed to be here. I think that's very important, and we want to respect you and that you're part of the city.
Thank you.
The only question I raise, since Mr. Kaplan somehow, some way raised the bid, Vivian, is the price, where are we as far as defining what the price is?
There is no
Originally, I got the
definition.
prices, and now all of a sudden one has changed.
There is no, the price is what you want to make the price to be. You can counter offer. That's.
Well, yeah, but the point is, what originally came in, what we have on.
It doesn't matter. All that is just, when you're dealing with this, when somebody offers you a price on your house, you can counter offer. This is the same situation. If Salvatore says, I want to offer you this, you can say, well, I would like you to pay me this.
Plays in that Mr. Kaplan came in from left field and decides he wants to raise the price because his was lower than yours. Does Mr. Campanelle, did I say it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What does he have to do? He was the higher bidder originally.
You can ask Mr. Campanelle, in the interest of the public, to pay to match that price if that's what you want to do. You don't have to do that, but in the interest of the public, you can ask him to do that. I believe the property is well worth that. It's a built-out restaurant except for a hood, and he's going to come around and get the money from us anyway. So I think it's well within your rights to say match that price. It's certainly worth, the property alone is worth that.
Wish you good luck.
Fitzpatrick?
I think it's good that a potential buyer lives in the city of Boynton, but when it comes down to who's going to do who's the customer, they don't care. They're just looking for the best meal at the best price. So on that regard, though, the thing that impresses me the most is the masterpiece chef designation, which my understanding is only like 5 in the country. So it can't be, that particular criteria can't be duplicated. So I'm kind of leaning towards Mr. Caminelli.
Hey?
I'm looking at the fact that we just had a failure in the little house, and I don't want to go that route again. So I don't want to get hung up on concept. I want to look at who can take the project from May to completion. I don't want us to be in the landowner's business. I don't want to see that. And I don't want to see the same person owning both pieces of property for the purpose that I just stated. If something goes belly up, now we got 2 pieces of property that we got to deal with. I don't want to see that happen again. And I feel that from what I've researched, Mr. Kaplan has a good financial backing from what I can tell, and I'm leaning toward him because some of these people who are talking about leasing and all that could lease from that financial, from him. So I'm leaning toward Kaplan.
Thank you.
Yes.
I do have a couple more questions. First of all, would you be agreeable to a deed restriction or separate agreement that CRA has the first right of refusal to buy, in case something happens. You know, anything could happen. You get run over by a garbage truck tomorrow.
Garbage truck? That's we on them. What you say, a car?
Jeff Livergood ain't gonna like this. This is real wood, right?
I mean, seriously, anything can happen. You know, so would you be amenable to that kind of agreement? To CRA
I
gets the first
wouldn't be
right?
opposed to that. No.
Okay. And my second question is: are you willing to match the $325,000?
I would, yes.
What was that? I didn't hear it.
Yes.
$325,000.
I mean, I was told this wouldn't end up in a bidding war, and that the. But
Let's not talk. No, that's no.
I would. I would match.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Do we have a?
Well, that's an important factor.
Yeah.
Need a motion?
Yes, we need a motion.
I'd like to move that we accept the offer by Mr. Sal Campanelle for 480 Ocean Avenue.
Is there a second?
Board, may I suggest that you also indicate that you'd like to open it up for negotiation of a contract to be brought back to you for approval?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion, and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Show the motion passes 6-1. Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We finally got you here, Sal.
Pardon me?
We finally got you here.
Yeah, stop
It took
while
a
you're
long
here.
time.
All right, moving on to
Moving on.
211.
I hope you're right.
You won't regret it.
No, I know. I've eaten in his restaurant.
Well
Thank
said,
you.
Sal. Thank you.
Got another one.
Well, we'll get
a
it.
okay, wanna stay?
Process. No, we got a whole process to
Well,
go
we
down.
got it. Let's get through that. I just want to talk a little bit about 211. Most uses will need a major site plan approval by Planning and Development Board. If they're going to add on to it, which most of them will, that we've talked to, will be adding on to it, they have to go before the Historic Board for approval and City Commission. So there's 3 steps. It takes 4 months. It's not a zoning, but it takes the same time as zoning. So just remember that. And if hopefully we can make a decision tonight so they can get through that process. All uses will need handicap ramp and handicap restrooms. The building itself, as it stands, needs significant renovation. Woodrow went through yesterday, and I think he saw what I talked about. Yeah. We have budgeted, and it's in the budget right now, $200,000 for whoever you choose. We have that money for them, whoever successfully you select. The appraised value, and this is not on the property appraiser's website, but our actual appraisal that we got through an independent appraiser, and I think it was Mr. Banting, perhaps, who did it, is $255,000 as of today. So that's just so you know. The people who met the qualifications for this property are Salvatore Campanelli again, and Bruce Kaplan, and Rodney Mayo, Tara Sinclair, and Eric Wiest, Jason Ficara, and Corey Patrick. And they're going to present in that order, and I just did it by alphabetical order, so no preference. So, Sal, you're up again.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, before they present, Mrs. Brooks, I like to give people kudos when kudos are, needed. I want to tell you thank you. This is what we should have had at the other presentation. I'm just saying it's more explicit and we can understand, like, as a board and the audience. I'm just saying, it's after the fact, but it's a good presentation.
I'm going to do a lot more PowerPoints.
Hey.
Hello again. I want to clear something up on 211. 211 is my concept for 211 is La Piazzetta.
It's what?
La Piazzetta, which in
English.
Italian means little square, and it's a social gathering area where people eat, drink. La Piazzetta is going to be a full-scale restaurant. I've done both. I do both now. I do both wood fire, authentic pizza, and full-scale restaurant. La Piazzetta is going to be an open kitchen, al fresco, indoor and outdoor dining with a completely different menu. I plan on featuring a display oak-fired grill for steaks and seafood, and a display oak-fired rotisserie grill. Other foods that La Piazzetta will offer is homemade pastas, artisanal pastas made with whole wheat, ancient grain, flour, the same kind of flour and pastas we make in Brooklyn. There will be a music venue. I plan on having a small stage with a very controlled sound system. So La Piazzetta is and a full bar. So La Piazzetta is a completely different venue. The Little Pizza Shack is geared toward pizza, wood-fire pizza, and we'll have some screens up. There'll be sports on, whereas La Piazzetta is a more, like I said, a full-scale restaurant. I'm hoping to get 200 seats, and we're going to have a full bar. We're going to have craft cocktails, craft beer, wine, and it's going to be a real full-scale restaurant. So I don't want anybody to think, they're going to be the same. I've done both. I think both venues will attract a lot of people to Ocean Avenue. I think you need two. In any place I open, I think you need a focal point. The focal point in La Piazzetta will be the large oak-fired grill where fresh grass-fed steaks and fish will be cooked. You can watch it being done. The rotisserie chicken, the flamed rotisserie chicken, which we make in a very unique way. We salt brine them overnight. We use free-range chickens. It's a different rotisserie chicken experience. We do them now. And, we'll have live music. We will have... I also run a culinary academy. These days, you have to find ways to get people into your place. My culinary workshops attract a lot of people. I'm booked 3 months in advance. I get people from Miami to Jupiter to come take the classes. So La Piazzetta will be a much larger scale, full-scale restaurant. And I plan on, like I said, using a lot of local seafood. We'll be making flatbreads. We'll have a wood-fired oven there as well. And, hopefully, if the city permits, I'll be able to have at least 200 seats in there.
We're going to do the same, wait for questions to the end? Yeah.
And as far as, just so everybody knows, again, I want to reiterate, I have $1.5 million to dedicate to both projects. More of it, obviously, is going to go to 211. As soon as you guys say yes, if you say yes, we will be submitting, we'll be getting the architect in there. And by the way, I'm also kind of a developer when it comes to restaurants. I don't just hire an architect and leave it up to him. I hire my own mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineering firm. We have an excellent design and flow plan firm. We have craft kitchen designers. They do commercial kitchens. I do a CAD design of the restaurant, and I also do a 3D video, which I will present to the CRA and the city before a nail goes in the place. You'll see a 3D video of the entire project. And this is how I do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Bruce Kaplan. Did you want to talk again? Mr. Kaplan, did you want to say something?
Okay, I'm just going to read directly from Mr. Kaplan's letter that was presented to the CRA before, just to go over what his offer was for the property. For 211 East Ocean Avenue, local development company would like to lease the Three Horns Brewery and may request grant money to bring the building up to code and zone correctly for their operation. The property at 211 Ocean is in desperate need of a major overhaul. If Three Horns Brewery is not willing to undertake the venture with local development company, local development company would reach out to other potential tenants, including CRA applicants, to lease the building. If local DevCo is unable to secure a tenant in a short period of time, they will be adding a wrap-around porch to the property, extensively renovate the interior space and outdoor space to open a very hip tapas restaurant lounge with a full bar and liquor license and intimate beer garden in the rear of the property. Mr. Kaplan has also expressed to me to express to the board that he would be willing to give the CRA the first right to ever take the building back if he were to ever redevelop that property later down the road. So meaning 5, 10, 20 years from now, he'd like to do something else with that property. He would give the CRA the first right to remove the historic house from the property at no cost. You guys would have to move it, obviously, but at no cost for the structure, so he wouldn't be demolishing the property if he ever were to do something with it. The offer, I think, stands at, it's been the same 300. Yeah.
300.
Yeah, and just to clear up one thing, Bruce couldn't be here. He wanted to be. He has a big development they're building in Pittsburgh, so he couldn't be here. And we are acting as transactional brokers with other clients, such as Sal. He just happened to be here. It would have been the same type of thing if Sal couldn't be here today. Me or Steve would have represented on his behalf as well. I just wanted to clear that up for the board. But we are transactional brokers for that deal as well, because he doesn't have a broker representing him on his side. I just wanted to clear that up.
Thank you.
You guys, questions?
We're coming back for questions.
Okay, sorry.
Rodney Mayo.
Okay, I just wanted to bring out some other things that I might have some oversight. Rodney Mayo has multiple restaurants. I mentioned 15 plus. I'm going to go down the list. Dada and Del Rey, Dubliner, he has 2 locations. Howley's, Tryst, Kapow, Honey, Respectable Street, Camelot, that just opened in West Palm Beach. Lost Weekend, currently under construction in West Palm Beach and also in Miami. Kill Your Idol in Miami, Hullabaloo, Longboards Restaurant and Bar, and Subculture Coffee. Rodney has been very excited to come here to Boynton Beach. He likes to develop kind of like almost like a critical mass when he puts multiple locations in the same location to create a buzz for the area. This is something that we were interested in doing in East Ocean Avenue. Seeing that we're not, the 400 East Ocean is off the table, and now we're talking about 211. We're going to respectfully have to decline and pull our offer out on this. So I apologize, and we thank you for your time, but we're going to bow out at this time, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, and I'm sorry it didn't work out that way because he's obviously successful.
Harrison Clare.
Thank you. Hi. I'm just going to read this so I get everything out. First, I want to clarify certain misconceptions that have been unfairly circulated about my proposal. There is an exaggeration regarding my request of assistance. It makes it appear I am asking for $300,000 more than I am, which is somewhat upsetting. I have prepared a written explanation, including a statement from my CPA, which I will leave with you. Secondly, in a meeting long ago with Practice, I demonstrated that I am prepared financially to meet the requirements of the proposal and am investing as much or more than other proposals have laid out in writing. Any suggestion otherwise is wrong. There are 2 basic differences between the project I have submitted and the others on the table. Sorry, is that getting in your way? Number 1, the amount of assistance I am requesting to make the project a reality, and number 2, the outcome my project will achieve for the city of Boynton Beach. There has been a suggestion that the research we have done on construction costs is lacking. I have a recent letter from one of my 3 contractors, which states that if sorry about that. I feel like that's giving you a feedback. If anything, the numbers in my proposal are conservative. Furthermore, in the study commissioned by the CRA in 2013, it was determined that the property would require the construction of outbuildings to make proper and full usage of the property. I have addressed that issue with the inclusion of 4 luxury suites to be utilized as a bed and breakfast. In short, my project costs more because it's real and addresses the actual issues. As to point 2, my project incorporates multiple revenue streams, including a beer and wine bar, bed and breakfast, and a dynamic event space. It is a proven fact that 70% of single-use projects, such as food outlets, in an economically underdeveloped area such as 211 East Ocean Avenue, fail in the first 2 years. I have addressed that issue by incorporating multiple facets and revenue streams. My project also gives Boynton's local community an artsy, fun place to congregate and spend time in the downtown area. It is a project for the people with lasting social impacts. My project provides local nonprofits with gifted event space once a month to create important community alliances and outlets for charitable enterprise. The elements of the facility are a perfect match for the Boynton Beach Master Plan Zone 3. My project provides Boynton Beach with economic spin-off apart from the project itself. For example, the facility will host numerous events each week, including art experiences, women's meetings, and social clubs and weddings. I have endorsements from 2 of the largest travel agencies, Zelle and AAA, and one of the largest bridal fashion houses in the world for whom I worked for over a decade, Alfred Angelo, which will be a valued client of mine. It is proven fact that a single destination wedding event creates nearly $25,000 in economic spin-off for the community as guests visit local restaurants, shops, spas, and the marina. Take the marina, for example. The city invested some $5 million in upgrading it. It is a perfect destination for sports fishermen. Where are those sports fishermen going to stay the night? The local B&B, of course. Problem is, there isn't one yet. There is a huge demand for classy B&Bs, and Boynton doesn't have one yet and needs one. Tourists will spend money in the community, and bed and breakfast will draw the tourists. My proposal, unlike other provide for local, national, and international marketing and advertising. As a coastal bed and breakfast, unique event space, bringing Boynton the large and sophisticated audience needed to create a vibrant downtown community. The project also highlights the importance of the historical Magnuson House and creates a landmark destination for the downtown area. I have the only project on the table that addresses this important preservation issue. I also received a Facebook message on our page for the Ocean Avenue House from someone on the Historical Preservation, board, and she said that she really likes my project and would like to see it happen. There is a logical reason for why I'm asking for what I am. My plan is well researched and well thought out and geared to survivability. What I am asking is far less compared to what Boynton Beach is spending in other areas for development. Regardless of the amount, small or large, any citizen's tax dollars should be well spent, and they should get something for their hard-earned money. That will benefit only some investor, but also the people as a whole. That is what my project is geared for, the people.
You need to kind of wind it up.
I'm almost done, sir. To sum it up, this is where preparation meets opportunity. Others may bring Boynton good food, but I bring vision and energy to ensure the best long-term development of the city. I am not your typical developer. I have been working on this project for a year, and I am committed to live on the premises and ensure the success of the project. In closing, I want you to know that I am open to discussion about any aspect of the proposal, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Douglas, one in case.
Eric Wiest.
Yes, sorry.
No, the next. We're just getting the next.
Oh, I thought.
We'll bring you back for questions. Eric Wiest, Jason. There they come.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
Don't start his time.
Sorry, we have a PowerPoint, and so bear with us, because I've never done one of these before.
Got 5 minutes.
Okay. Is there a remote, or? How do I change the, you're going to handle this? Yeah. Okay.
He's the IT guy.
Good evening, everyone. I know it's the end of the night. Everyone's probably tired, so I'm going to try to kind of brush through it. I'm going to give you a little background on craft beer because after the last meeting, I kind of realized that maybe everyone wasn't so well versed in it. Craft beer is the largest growing market in the alcohol industry. Every year, it gains more of a foothold in sales than any other alcohol sales. As far as South Florida goes, South Florida is slowly but surely becoming a brewery hub. The number of breweries that are opening down here is insane right now. You know, I'm sure you guys are familiar because you have Due South, and there's about 4 other breweries that are opening in the next few months outside of the downtown area. South Florida craft breweries have continual year-over-year growth. Between 2012 and 2014, each year yielded at least a 40% increase in output of beer volume from Florida breweries. The chart that we have up here is going to show you the total of U.S. beer sales in 2014. What's important in this graph is the fact that craft beer sales are up 17.6% per year, and they account for roughly 20% of the total beer sales while only taking up an 11% market share. So it's a very high profit item. Although it has minimal market share, it still makes up for almost 20% of total revenue. Who we are. We're 3 guys who love to make beer. We're 3 friends. We're passionate about what we do. We're not successful restaurant owners. We can't afford to buy your properties. We don't have the capital sitting to purchase them in cash. I started a hearing aid business that I grew into a success. Eric started an IT company from nothing that he grew into a success. Coy is passionate about the beer he makes. We can't offer you more money than anybody else. We want to lease the property. We eventually want to buy the property. We don't want to fail. We work real hard for our money, and we want to make sure that we see a project through when it starts. This is also our livelihood as far as an investment goes between 3 friends. What it is we actually do, because that was also a little bit of confusion last time. We produce great beer, and we produce it in extremely small quantities. You won't be able to go into a bar down the street and get it. You'll have to come here. You'll have to come into the city of Boynton Beach to purchase our product. We want to provide food options that complement our beer, food options that are made from our beer, that are made from the products we use in our beer. And our bigger goal is definitely to, our bigger goal is definitely to create a sense of community down here. Craft beer and millennials go hand in hand. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the term millennial, what it entails, and we are the perfect draw for that community here. Our goal is very simple. All we want to do is make the best beer in the world, and we want to bring it to the place that we're all from, which is Boynton. Born in Boynton, lives in Boynton, own businesses in Boynton. This is what we think your problem is, not that you have a problem. But as far as 3 guys who are in your target demographic go, we think the downtown area of Boynton Beach is lacking a central hub for the millennial crowd it wishes to attract. This is the demographic that changes communities. All we have to do is look to Williamsburg, Portland, Oregon, Asheville, North Carolina. These are all areas that totally shaped around millennials, craft beer, and artisan foods. It's a place where they can indulge these interests, craft beer, artisan foods, and that sense of community. We believe that Three Horns Brewing Company can be the catalyst that the downtown area needs to keep their target demographic in the city, as opposed to having it bleed out to places like Delray and Lake Worth. We also believe that we can draw new people into your community, especially with the new building you guys are putting up at 500 East. Besides just selling beer, we plan on doing a lot of events on Ocean Avenue that draw tourism. I'm going to brush through the rest of it because I'm at about 50 seconds and I don't want to go over. Beer festivals, I don't know how familiar anyone in this room is with them. They attract roughly 3,000 to 5,000 attendees. That obviously not only impacts the area the beer festival is in, but people go to surrounding businesses to purchase food, lodging, all those other things. We believe that Ocean Avenue is the perfect place for that. Beer events drive tourism and bring revenue, like I said, to surrounding businesses. Our revenue streams are fairly simple. Beer sales, growler to go, food sales, when we do bottle releases, brewing events in surrounding areas, merchandise sales. We have a site plan. If anyone cares to look at it, we already did exactly what we would need to do on the 211 property. We had a little 3D rendition of what our vision is as far as the wraparound porch and everything else would be. I'm out of time, but...
Go ahead and finish up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We'll give
I
you
know
a-
everybody's tired. We believe the city of Boynton Beach has a vision for what it can be. We really do believe that our vision is in line with that. We believe that the 211 Ocean property's historic significance and allure, combined with what we plan to do with it, is a huge draw and can bring a lot of energy down here. And I really do think that we have the ability to not only bring a new and exciting concept here, but we can also help all the other businesses down here grow. So that's my presentation, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't you stay there, because we're now going to back up for questions, so
Absolutely.
we'll just go reverse order here. So questions, Marker?
Yeah, I'd like to do something right away. I'd like to table this and not take a vote on this tonight. The reason, personally, is that this is a special piece of property. I'm hearing different venues where maybe each one can work, and I'd just like to a little more time to comprehend this, speak to you. I've not spoken to you. I only spoke to you. I spoke to you. It's just something, this area where 211 is, it's not like 480 is, which was a restaurant, and you could just expand it. So personally speaking, I'd like to table this another month.
Well, I'd like to move on it, and I've had plenty of time to review everything and check it
Mr.
all
Chair.
out. So, but you could make a motion to table.
I'd like to do
See if
that.
it passes. Well,
Okay.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I'd like to move that we table this 211.
Is there a
decision.
second? Motion dies for lack of a second.
Okay.
Question
Okay, questions for this proposer?
right here.
Mac?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, you all stated that you cannot purchase the property.
As far as what, no, flat out, we cannot tomorrow offer you $350,000 or whatever you're asking.
Thank you, sir. If I ask questions, just answer. We'll move on. Okay, the next thing is that you said that you all live in Boynton?
Yes.
One of them does.
One does, and one each. One was raised.
Wait, they could talk for themselves.
I'm sorry.
Two of us live in Boynton.
Two of you live in Boynton, okay, because I kept wondering why, if you lived in Boynton, you kept saying we can draw people into your community. And I'm saying, if you live in Boynton, why wasn't you saying our community? That's all I was concerned about.
Well, he's not the one who lives in Boynton.
Well, that's why he said it. Okay. Good.
Buck?
And just to speak regarding the purchase, our offer was to actually offer a purchase at fair market value after 3 years of leasing.
Okay. Couple questions about, you're going to serve things other than beer, though? I mean, like wine? You're going to plan a full bar or just...
We actually plan on serving beer and also serving wine. People need other options, beer.
Okay. And the food, is it going to be meal-sized food or just snack-type food or what?
We would like to start off with something that's in our scope. We've actually talked to Sal about doing a permanent mobile kitchen on site that would produce some of the bigger meals that would be included, but mostly it would be snacks moving into full meals eventually.
Okay. And what do you anticipate the seating capacity to be?
In the tap room, it'll probably be around 150 seats.
Okay, thank you.
I had a couple questions. In your proposal, it says you're requesting the budgeted CRA funding of $200,000 plus grant funds as needed. What does that mean, grant funds as needed?
I don't know that I wrote the language of that at all.
I put that in there. That's 211. As Sal said, it is going to be an $800,000 project for anybody because they have to add on to it. That's the $200,000 that we budgeted. Obviously, people are going to have to put a hood. Typically, the 2 bathrooms. So I'm assuming most people are going to come through for the grants in the next fiscal year for 211, not this fiscal year, but next fiscal year. So I'm assuming they don't have to, but I'm assuming they might want to avail themselves of those.
Okay, my next question was, you mentioned, have you talked to possibly teaming up if somebody else got the property, you would team up with your beer part of it? Have you talked about that?
We have.
Okay, that was the question. Were you going to ask for any TIF money?
I apologize if I sound ignorant. I don't know what TIF money is.
That's the taxes.
Yeah, I guess I can't request it.
Well, I have a question. I'm going to ask every person that because that's your tax increment fund. In other words, when you pay, you have to pay taxes every year, and what you ask is you ask the CRA to pick up part of that taxes, and then give it back, that they would do that. So I didn't know. At this point, you don't know what I'm talking about. So
No, we just want to be fair and make a living.
I understand. Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Questions? Yes, Mr.
Question I have, I took a visit over there at the 211 yesterday, and have you made an analysis or an assessment to what it's going to take to bring that building up to code?
Yeah, we had a general contractor.
And what number did you come up with?
We came up with roughly $220,000 for total build out for what we're doing there. The house would be very secondary to what the proposed use of this land is for us. The house complements the actual brewing structure the tasting room would be in. In the plan that we had drawn up with the pictures, if you want, I can pull it up for you. I don't know if I click back. And I'm going to actually let Coy handle the speaking of this because he knows this in and out.
So basically for the house, we want to try to keep it as historic as possible, bring it up to code with 2 restrooms, and it kind of stay as a lounge with, 1920s, 1930s theme. And the tasting room, the building in the back, would be, brought up to, whatever design we decide to go with on the interior.
Now, when you put the porch on there, the parking, have you looked into that? Because that would take away from, that's always an issue.
Right. And the front of the property, there wasn't really room to do any parking up there. Potentially, there could be some parking area in the back to the north there, parking off the alley if we need to put in some handicap accessible spots, things like that, maybe employee parking. But we'd probably be relying on, the city lots.
Go ahead.
When you say relying on the city lots, can they do that? Or would they,
Yes.
if they have 150 seats there, don't they have X amount of parking spaces that they can
Nope.
provide? They can use the city lots to do that?
No one, because it's historic, they don't have to meet that.
That's right. Very good. Thank you. The other thing is that where are you located now?
Currently, we don't have a location.
So you're not brewing anything right now?
We're just home brewers right now.
Okay. Are you selling T-shirts?
We do at events, yes.
Okay. Just because I know what a growler is, and I think the state legislature just passed it where now you can get out and actually sell it as a microbrewery and stuff like that. That's a 64-ounce.
They're still working on passing the 64-ounce bill, but right now we can fill 32s and 128s.
It's going to pass. 64. So, okay. What do you said 200,000, you had a contractor up there and he said $200,000 to build the tasting room. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, our needs are actually pretty basic. I know from looking at the site plan and everything else, everybody else's vision, I think, is a little more grandiose than ours. The area that we actually need to have a business that functions and makes great beer and makes money, it's a warehouse. I mean, it's a square building with concrete floors and drainage. So
I have one of those.
Yeah, well, the thing is that most of our money would be spent on the porch, getting the house up to code, and making the inside of it look cool.
The part I'm having a little trouble is that, like due south, I'll use that for an example, they're expanding. If you get successful here, there's nowhere to expand.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, is that there are 2 ways to go about being a craft brewery. Your goals have to be in line. Our goals are all in line. Due South, and I'm speaking from not knowing them at all, but from what I've seen, it seems that their goal is to be in every bar in the country. That's not my goal. I don't think that's any of our goals. We want people to come to our location. We want to make the best of the best beer, and we want it to be hard to get. We want you to wait in line for 3 hours when we release a bottle of beer. I don't want you to be able to go to Duffy's and have one of my beers, and if we ever change our mind on that point, and this is successful in this location, we would look into an industrial space in the city of Boynton Beach. And that's very common as far as this business model. If you look at places like Tampa, places start as small brew pubs, and eventually they get too big to function in their location, and they move 3 blocks down the road into an industrial area where they can ship things back and forth.
And I hope you're successful in getting this property, but I can see that happening
quickly. And my concern is that you might be overly successful and outgrow it quickly. But getting back to what kind of events would you be holding other than like tastings and such? Would you be holding like, not a wedding obviously, but what kind of events would you be holding?
So that depends on a couple of different things. And I'm going to talk about things we haven't even discussed, but I'll talk about what I thought things that we could do. Number one is the use of Ocean Avenue. I really think it's a great, great place. I've been to your Pirate Festival. We've brewed at it for the Little House. Beer festivals up and down. I mean, they're just huge events, and they're ticketed events. You rope everything off. 30 or 40 breweries come out, set up small tents, and people do tastings. As far as events at the actual brewery goes, it's an industrial space, so you can use it for so many things. You can use it to do food truck events, food pairings. You can use it to do small concerts or shows. It's kind of limitless because it really is truly a multi-use space.
Just one last question. With Sal, the pizza guy right down the street now, are you going to be in conjunction with him back and forth with foods? Or
we've already talked to Sal about having, they make a mobile version of the type of oven that Sal uses in his craft. We've already talked about having one permanently set up, almost as a mobile kitchen.
Okay, I have to wait till he finished.
Yes, go.
Yeah, my whole take is, with all these breweries that's trying to get downtown, do y'all recognize y'all are blocked from the police department?
It's the safest place in town. Nobody will ever be afraid walking to their car.
I have a question. How much cash do you have to put into this project?
We have $200,000.
$200,000, right? Okay, well...
That's liquid, by the way. That's not with a line of credit or anything.
Right. Well, my only question for you is that we've had estimates to bring the place up to code. Just to bring it up to code is like $250,000. And I think that a lot of times those are low estimates. Once you get in there and you find things you didn't expect. So let's say that, I know you could get, I know the CRA has $200,000 they can put towards whoever gets the property, but let's say it costs $300,000 to bring it up to code. So there's $100,000 there. You're talking about a wraparound porch, which you just said was going to cost you $220,000, I think, to do. I mean, I'm wondering, where's your extra cash coming from?
I said that the total build-out would be, I didn't say the porch was going to be 220.
Okay, the total build-out was 220, you said.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to have a detailed breakout done. Unfortunately, with the period of time that we had trying to get a general contractor, we got rough estimates. And you're absolutely right. I mean, my numbers could be, from someone coming out and taking some measurements and telling me what he thinks, it could double. And if it's $1 million job, I can't do it. We can't do it.
Okay.
But we're willing to take the steps to see if it's something that we can do within our budget.
Okay. Thank you. Other question?
I have another question. Have you been working with Bruce Kaplan's company on this, or talking to them about if we sell it to them, that you'll lease from them?
I had a very brief conversation with Mr. Practice in his office before the last meeting, just that Mr. Kaplan liked the idea. He thinks that it could be successful. If he ends up getting the property, that he would be willing to talk to us about leasing it. That was the only conversation I've had.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. We appreciate your time.
Who was the next proposer up the line? I don't see the list there.
Right there.
No.
Hi.
But I don't know.
I'm bringing up Dr. Douglas Layton, who's my business consultant, because I'm sure you'll have financial questions. That's why I have a good team.
She's here for the questions. Questions?
I do. I'll start it off. Operating hours.
I'm sorry. Operating hours?
Correct.
Well, it is a bed and breakfast, so essentially it's 24 hours operating, 7 days a week. There will be, obviously, the wine bar will be done probably, I would assume, Wednesday through maybe Sunday night.
Hours?
What?
Hours for the wine bar?
I would start at early happy hour and go through probably 2 o'clock, depending on... I don't want to wake up all the residents. I know it's still a residential area, so I would be very concerned.
How many beds are you going to have in the bed and breakfast?
Well, there'll be 4 luxury suites. So essentially, the rooms will probably have a bed in each room, and then probably a day bed as well, so they can sleep more people.
What's the occupancy projected to be there as far as seating? You said weddings and banquets.
Yes, about 150 to 200.
Okay. And let me ask you this. How much have you spent on studies and research? How many people have you had up at the property How much money have you got out of pocket already exploring the possibilities of what can and what can't be done in that property?
$25,000.
You spent $25,000 of your own money so
Yes.
far, right there.
Yes.
And you had three contractors up there?
Yes.
And what was the highest number that they came up with as far as an estimate to do everything that you'd been talking about doing?
Douglas, I think.
$600,000.
$600,000.
$600,000 total for
Yes.
everything that you've been talking about?
Yes.
And that was estimated by 3 different contractors?
Yes.
Okay. And you had $25,000 your own money in there? Okay, you said you had a rating with AAA?
Yes, actually, I don't have a rating with them. I received, and I believe at the last meeting, I received letters from AAA Travel and Zell Travel. I worked with them for years in the past. Zell is another big corporate international travel company. Due to my experience with Alfred Angelo, they both said that they would send clients to me here in the Boynton Beach location.
Could you eventually get in there? I don't know what they do, like their booklet or...
Oh, I'm sure, as long as, I have the marina here. I think I can do a lot of very successful fishing charters and other kinds of destinations.
Other questions?
You said 600,000. Was separate money or including purchasing?
Not purchasing.
That is actual construction costs, renovation of the property and the building of the 4 luxury suites out back.
I'll ask the question, do you foresee yourself, all going well, you would want to buy the property?
I'm asking for the property and the land.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking short-term future. Do you see yourself wanting to buy the land?
Well, I'm asking for it to be given to me.
Okay.
So,
Other questions?
Yes, I have more. And what other concessions are you looking for monetarily?
We have mentioned in the proposal a request for a 10-year tax concession, which according to our understanding is available to us under law. However, we have not depended upon any concessions in that regard and have not included them in our financial plan. I have a letter from our CPA, which I asked her to generate this morning, in which she says, Tara, in the proposal, we based the property tax calculations of $500K value of property after renovation, and we did not ask for a tax holiday. We were advised when we first wrote the plan by a person we were consulting with that we should put it into the proposal. And if somebody wants to give us a tax break, we'd be more than happy to take it. But it is not a contingency for our offer.
So you're saying that the tax holiday is not...
It is not.
It is not.
We would like to have it. I have a statement from the Breeze into Boynton Beach fact site on the website. It's a question is asked, are there tax breaks available to property owners in his local historic districts? The answer is yes. The granting of tax exemptions to owners who make improvements to historic properties was authorized under Florida law in 1992. Palm Beach County subsequently adopted an ordinance in 1995 making provisions for tax exemptions under state law, and the city of Boynton Beach intends, with the passage of its own historic preservation ordinance, to enter into an interlocal agreement with West Palm Beach to allow for these tax breaks. If we were afforded those tax breaks, it would be wonderful. But like I said before, our offer is not contingent upon them.
So you can afford to do it without the tax breaks?
We have included the property taxes based on a $500,000 valuation of the property in our financial plan, and have planned to pay those taxes.
And how much money are you looking for from the CRA to do the construction?
Total amount is $641,270.
No, from the CRA.
From the CRA, correct.
No, that's the total construction. I think we're 400 and something. I think you're answering.
Well, I was including the value of the house, which we have estimated, excuse me, we have a different valuation than Vivian has stated. We have 3 years back valuation of the property. The latest was $158,000 and some odd dollars. We have asked for the value of that property, along with $480,000. So the total of it would be $641,000, including the value of the property and house.
And so then the difference between your project and if we sold the property for $300,000 is like pushing $1 million.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sir.
So the difference between your project and a project where we sold the property for, say, $300,000 is pushing $1 million.
Sorry, is that here?
I'm half deaf, excuse me.
The difference between if they sold the property and my project is $300,000.
Tara is prepared to put in $250,000 of her own money and has shown a capability of over $400,000 to Precos in her meeting with them. She's willing to cover, first of all, $250,000 of the renovation and construction costs and startup costs, plus to provide up to $200,000 for operating costs in the first 2 years of the project. So her participation in the project is equivalent to approximately $450,000.
And our participation would be?
$641,000.
Right.
Including the value of the land.
Right. But
so the actual cash outlay would be $480,000.
Right. And then plus the difference between your valuation of land and what somebody's actually offering for us in cash. So we're up around $600,000 difference.
Well, what I can say is this, is that if someone's offering for that house for $300,000 and you give them the $200,000 grant, they're really essentially paying $100,000. And what I want to say really about my project is that my project is very different than every other project. By the way, I do have food components built into my project. So I don't want anyone under the impression I will have a commercial kitchen on that property, and I have amazing concepts for it. I just have tried to keep it simple for all of you, but I want to say that I am a destination. I am going to bring tourism to your community, and I am going to bring special events, which I believe, from my experience at Alfred Angelo, which is the largest bridal manufacturer in the world, that there is a major deficit of good event space in this community with unique features. And I know for a fact that girls are looking for unique wedding spaces to get married, and I know that they will go anywhere for it. It doesn't matter exactly where it is, especially if you're near a coast. So, I think that I'm going to provide a lot of economic value to the community for the spas, for the marina, for everyone. And I really, that's why I'm saying I'm setting myself up for success. I don't want to fail either, but I need the support of the city to do that. And I'm aware of that, and I'm not a developer. I'm a small business, but I will work my butt off to make it great.
Right, I understand. And I have to admit, I like you and your energy a lot better than your project. Not because I'm against your project, but because of the finances for the CRA. In essence, it depends where you want to take that $200,000 off. There's still, I don't know, $600,000-$700,000 difference going with you out of the CRA's coffers than selling it to somebody. So that's a big nut. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Great, did you go?
Yeah, thank you, sir. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the meeting. Thank you for your proposal. Very well done. And I'm just saying, right now I don't know which way I'm going to go, but I'm just saying, you're an excellent presenter and job well done.
Thank you.
I have just a couple things I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. First of all, you don't want to buy the property. You don't want to lease the property. You want us to give you the property, the house and the property. I'm hearing tonight, I'd heard that you were going to ask for the TIF, the 100% TIF for 10 years, but you're telling me tonight you're not doing that. You might do that, but you're not doing it tonight, right?
Exactly.
Right.
I'm open to all kinds of suggestions or...
Okay, and the fact is that you plan on living there, so you're living there for free.
Well, yes, I have to work it.
Yeah.
I have another house
under our code that she lives there.
Yeah. You do not have a liquor license this time. Right?
No, but I did find out. I'm interested in a beer and wine license, especially because liquor, to me, brings a lot of other things around it, and I really want it to be a certain kind of establishment, especially in a residential area. And a beer and wine license is $480 through the state, and there are services to help you get it, which charge for $700 for the application assistance. They're much easier to get than liquor license because of the different liability. But I can serve sake and champagne and really other interesting things.
You don't have one at this time.
No, but I will get one.
And while you're talking about bed and breakfast, which right now, I think it's a 2-bedroom place. Is that right?
Well, right. I mean, it's a 3-bedroom actually in the main house.
And you're talking about adding on in the back. You're going to build some more.
Yes.
And you got
4 luxury suites.
So and you say you had $400,000 to do that with?
Well, that project cost about 200 and something, I believe.
And that project is included in the numbers that I gave you in the beginning. The cost of the construction, $600,000, is including both the renovation of the existing facility at about $250,000 and the construction of 4 luxury suites in the back, so all inclusive.
I specifically added that because your own CRA board suggested that in order to make the best use of that property, it needed an additional structure to thrive.
To do a bed and breakfast, you would, because you can't.
Absolutely.
I don't think you can survive
Plus,
with 3 bedrooms.
I also would not want sleeping rooms where there would be a large amount of wine inventory or beer inventory on the premises. So I've kind of really thought out all of the logistics of the space. Being an event planner, that's one of my many talents, is to think about room flow and logistical things.
What I guess just what I kind of like to know what's going through my mind is I'm thinking, let's say you have these 4 other ones built, okay, and you got the 3 in the house there. I assume you're going to be in one of them. If you're going to be living there, so we're talking maybe 6. 6. So let's say that it's a bed and breakfast, and let's say you got full capacity. You got 2 people in every room, so you're talking 8, 9, 10, maybe 12 people. Okay, 12 people, and those people stay there. Who knows, a week, maybe longer, but we're talking 12 people versus, in my mind, with a restaurant. When I'm talking about, which I brought up earlier about feet on the street, I'm talking. A restaurant, I'm looking at 100 people a day, probably in and out of a restaurant, a minimum of 100 people a day for lunch and dinner. So I'm just thinking, because I'm looking at Ocean Avenue and making it thrive.
Absolutely, Mayor Taylor.
But then you're not only bed and breakfast, you're talking about doing art and kind of a community center thing where you try to draw events and stuff there. So you're kind of banking on that to make some of the revenue also.
Well, I have an art business already called the Art Experience, and we do paint and sips around the whole South Florida area. And any night we can have 35 to 65 women come and paint and drink wine. So I will be hosting those events along with, like I said, weddings. I do have a wine bar that will have food. I really think my plan is everything. And really, I understand it sounds like a lot of money, but I need the community to invest in me, and I'm going to be investing in you. And I really think I'm offering you everything. I'm offering you lodging, event space, and a wine bar with food. So,
My only thing was, like I told you when I met with you,
yes.
The taxpayer, they gave us this house and said, we want you. We owe it to the taxpayer to do the best we can with this house.
Yes.
And I've got somebody that's coming to me and saying, "I'll give you $300,000 for it," and you're saying, "Give it to me. I want it for free." And I got to look those taxpayers in the eye and say, "I made the right decision." So that's a matter. And I understand what you're going to say. You're going to tell me that in the long run it'll pay off down the road. That decision is going to benefit all this stuff from the long run. Well, I could say, well, I think we'll benefit also from probably other projects. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that out. Thank you. I have to answer to the taxpayer. Okay.
Just quick question. On this build-out, these 4 luxury, so are you going to incorporate it into the structure itself, like to keep it the same theme?
Yes, absolutely. The other thing I want to say about this house is that my background is in planning meetings and corporate meetings. And I look for corporate meeting space a lot. And I do plan on holding for businesses corporate meetings during the day when, weddings are at night usually or weekend days, but meetings are all the time. And we have a lot of corporations around, and South Florida is growing. And I think that we need to look at the way I vision this house is that it has very multi-dimensional use. And I just think that for an old historical house in the beginning of your street, you would want something that is going to wow people when they drive down the block. And that's really, what I'm trying to do. And I really do thank you for all your time.
Do you ever do a bed and breakfast? Have you ever done that in the past?
I have not had my own, but I've been in the hospitality industry my entire career, so I feel I'm very well versed. And I also have done Airbnb, and I have superhost status. I've rented out other properties, and I'm very successful at it.
Thank you.
I have another question.
Yes.
If you're planning on a meeting room, which would be in the original house, I would assume, what kind of code problems does that bring in as far as bathrooms, whatever?
Oh, the usual. I mean, usually it would be small meetings. I used to book board meetings for 10 people at the Orchid Society or at Murakami because they got sick of going to hotel freezing ballrooms and little meeting rooms. And I think people are looking for something unique, and they want character, and they want to dazzle their clients. And my place would offer that sophistication with that artsy feel and with a personal touch. And I just think that that's the future of business.
Worker?
Yes.
I think there's a lot of questions. Number one, the question that I was hearing all night tonight, if I'm hearing it correctly, is that the CRA doesn't want to own property. So therefore, in your situation, they'd be owning property. So that's
No, I'm asking for them to give it to
but
me.
that's owning by giving it away. That's a
Right.
gift. That's a loss. That's a negative.
I don't see it that way, but
I do.
Okay.
Okay, on that part I do. The positive part I see is the fact that it's a new idea. It represents something new for the area. It's a new flavor, and I think that's very positive. We just approved one restaurant. We have another little restaurant there, East Ocean Cafe. We have Hurricane. That's another good thing. So this is why I didn't want to vote tonight, because to me, your idea is different. It's another flavor. Instead of eating vanilla or chocolate, you may eat strawberry or whatever else. And
I already have clients.
Well, that I didn't know.
That helps too, right?
Yeah, no, but the big thing for me, and I think everyone else said it, is do we want to own property or we don't? And that's the major decision for me.
I have always said that I respect this decision, and I believe too that I know that there's been talk of, I am investing my life in this project if it is awarded to me. This is not a quick flip for me. I am going to make this project work, no doubt. And I just want to, reinforce that to you.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
It brings us back to Bruce Kaplan.
Questions?
Questions?
Yeah, well, I have one. The plan is for a brewery. Is that correct?
Not for him to open a brewery, for him to lease back to Three Horns was the proposed plan. He likes their concept. We've talked to him about Three Horns, and he's seen their proposal. He's confident that they can make it work there, and he would like to lease to them if he can purchase the property. And
his whole concept.
He's ready to lease at the terms that they have provided to the CRA to lease directly from you.
Okay. Since he himself wouldn't be an owner-operator like Sal.
He wants to be the landlord.
Would he be amenable, or do you have any idea to, A, the question I asked Sal about first right of refusal for the CRA in case things don't work out and he wants to sell it, has to sell it.
I would have to talk to him about that. The only reason I'm going to say no is because he's a landowner. He's in the business of buying land and holding for long periods of time. He's not in the business of taking this property and trying to sell it right away. I don't know if I don't think he'd have a problem with first right of refusal as long as it was at the market price he was being offered from somebody else. I don't think so, but I'd have to talk to him. I can't make that decision for him.
All right, another question would actually be, because he's not an owner-operator of a restaurant, he could still be the owner. He could lease it out to a business that fits with code and all that kind of stuff, but still not be the kind of business we want to see on the street. And I realize he's probably not going to do that because obviously that use of that property is some kind of hospitality situation. But it could still happen. So would he, of course you can't answer, he's not here.
Well, we did speak with Vivian about this in regards to he would allow the CRA to have the first right of refusal of the type of business that would be in the space. Not necessarily the exact operator, because I know that could take forever and get really hairy. But he did say that he would give the CRA the right to choose the type of operator.
So he'd put that in there as a deed restriction.
Yeah, we talked about we would never have a vapor shop there or something that wouldn't conform with what you guys wanted for the street. We did discuss that.
Okay, so in essence that'd be a deed restriction on that though.
Yeah, we talked about having that deed restriction on the type, not the exact tenant.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
You probably don't know this because you're not him, but he's not requesting any TIF?
No TIF. He would be having the tenants request the grant money that's being offered to bring the property back up, but he's not requesting any TIF.
Thank you. Matt?
Thank you, sir. I would hate to go ahead and award this to Mr. Kaplan. I'm just saying because, first of all, we just got almost like stung tonight with Ocean, 300 Ocean, East Ocean, by doing a project and doing things in good faith, and they came back and bid us, and he's not here to answer questions, and I'm kind of leery about the decision, sir. I'm sorry.
No, I understand.
Question? Thank you.
Thanks.
That takes us to Salvatore Campanile. Campanile. He said no. He said Nile. We questioned him. No, Campanile. Questions for Mr. Campanile?
Let me start off first, sir. Are you willing to buy the building?
Yes, sir.
You got the money?
Yes, we do. And we have more if we need it.
I like that. You've answered my question. That's what I need to hear.
I have a question also. You said earlier that you felt like it would take as much as, say, $800,000 to bring this property up to what you want it to be for the concept that you have.
Yes.
And, of course, we have $200,000 already budgeted to help with that situation.
Yes.
So you're willing to carry that $600,000. You're willing and able to do that $600,000 yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As I said, we have $1.5 million available for both buildings, and if we need more, it's there. So I'm all in. We are all in, and we want to make this Ocean Avenue a success.
Okay. If this is awarded to you.
If it's awarded to you.
If it's awarded to you. No, I'm not saying, I'm not adding that to yours. This is my, if it's awarded to you, you might want to consider changing La Piazzetta to another name, because to most Americans, they're going to think that means little pizza.
These names are not etched in stone. That'll be once we sit down with my design group.
I love Pizza Shack.
And the names could change.
Okay.
The concepts are the same, though.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hey.
If you were awarded 211, how would 480 and 211 relate to each other?
Well, they would complement each other. 480 is like a more casual venue, whereas 211 is I see it as more of a destination spot, a spot. I mean, I find it really hard to go find a great steak in Boynton or a bone-in veal chop, a bone-in pork chop, grilled fish. The venue would be very unique. As I said, I always like to have a focal point. In the Wood Fire Pizzeria, the oven is like the main attraction. I put it up front and center. You can see the fire inside, and I like to put a bar around it. So single diners never like to sit at a table. They usually like to sit at a bar, and they flock to the pizza station where they can watch us making pizzas and opening up the doughs and topping them. 211 La Piazzetta, or could be a different name, the focal point in La Piazzetta is going to be an open oak fired grill where big steaks are being cooked, seafood. We're going to have a display rotisserie where you see the flames. And so it's completely different. One is, as I said, one is a full-scale restaurant with live music, and the other is more casual. It's actually going to be a flex casual. At lunch, you can go in, order yourself. You don't have to wait for a waitress. And a food runner will bring the food right out to you, because I find at lunch, people don't want to go through the rigmarole of waiting for a waitress and a tip and all that stuff. So there's no tip and there's no waiting, and you can be in and out in 30 minutes. So they will definitely complement each other. And they're two proven concepts. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I've done, actually, it's really like splitting what I did at Zaza's and what I did at Mastino's into two little separate parts.
But would you anticipate a lot of garden seating to get your seating capacity up at 211? Or
I definitely will have a lot of outdoor seating. I would like to split it up, so I'm maybe 100 seats outside, 100 inside. You need indoor seating in Florida. You got to have air-conditioned seating. So I see it as about 50-50.
Hours of operation?
Hours of operation will be from 12 to midnight. We may close a little earlier during the week. I mean, usually weekends we stay open later, especially if you have live music. Like right now we have live music on Friday and Saturday nights. The music.
When you say live music, what kind of music? Are you talking like a guitar player or accordion player?
We do classic rock, blues, jazz.
Okay.
Not an accordion player, no.
I play the accordion, so
You're looking for a job?
I'm looking for a gig. So, but anyway, my father made me play the accordion. I never want to hear one again.
Mac?
Thank you, sir. I'm back to you about this, and you said it'd be a destination spot. I think a destination location sounds better to me. But I'm back to this cooking part. Will you be cooking inside that building? Because, it's a wooden structure. I'm trying to figure out.
Well, no.
I'm on the serious side. I don't want you firing up nothing in the building go up,
No. I'm going to let my architect and design team figure out how to work it. I'm picturing the building as the building staying where it is, and we build around it.
Oh, the cooking would be on the outside.
Yeah, it's going to be an open kitchen, so you'll be able to see everything being done.
Oh, I feel better. I don't want you firing up a match and then it goes.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Chair?
We don't want to hurt the building.
I'm good.
Are you asking for any TIF, tax increment?
No.
Okay. Mac?
Have you taken a look at the inside in terms of bringing that building up to code in terms of cost, what it would cost
Well, as
you?
I said, I had a similar project, a bigger one in the Keys. It was
Question is, have you been in the building?
No, I have not been in the building.
Okay. So you can't really answer that.
No.
What do you
And
have
if I
on-
had been in the building, I probably still couldn't give you an answer.
You have an
as to how
estimate
much
on-
it would cost.
You have an estimate on how long you think it would take you to put the thing into operation?
I think that project is at least 10 months.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have one simple question. What happened to opera?
Thank God.
What is it?
You got to go with
Pavarotti.
the flow.
You want me to go on? Thank God.
No, I love opera, but unfortunately,
Get out of here.
You don't want to eat to it.
Yeah.
Sure you do. It's culture.
You don't want
It's called culture.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm good.
No? Okay, anybody in the public want to address any of these projects, please come forward. You got 3 minutes.
How are you? Chris Montague, 222 West Ocean Avenue. I just have a couple quick questions. Did you all ever receive my proposal in the end for the music school? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to express my disappointment in the dealings I had with the CRA. I just, to sit here and hear everybody say, oh, we don't want to lease a building when all your advertisements offered to lease a commercial space that you don't even have because it's residential was a complete waste of time for any business owners here proposing to lease your property. Furthermore, you continually violated your own rules set forth. The deadlines have been changed. Everything has moved. We have late people submitting. And unfortunately, as interested as I was in the building and the area, and I've already, withdrawn from this, but I just hope in the future that if you all are going to do something like this, decide what you want to do and don't waste people's time. You have a realtor representing you who never even listed the building for sale. It says on your website for lease, on his website for lease. Stuck a sign in the yard for sale. So if you don't want to lease to businesses, please don't advertise that. And don't advertise leasing a commercial building when you don't have one. And that's it. I won't waste any more of your time.
Thank you.
But highly disappointed.
Sorry.
I'd just like to say, I hope I'm sure you're a little soured or negative right now to it, but you've got a great business. We heard you in your first presentation, and I hope that you continue to grow here in Boynton, stay here in Boynton, and maybe come before us again and we can help you.
Yeah, my problem's not with Boynton Beach. That's not what disappointed me here.
Okay, great, thanks.
I liked your idea. I liked your idea. I like to find
your own criteria
I'd
like
to
my
find a
idea, but
place to
somehow
put
it got
you.
shoved to the end every time. If you look at your own spreadsheet, I just don't understand how you ignore the idea. But that being said, my experience was so poor anyways that I wouldn't want at this moment the CRA as my landlord.
Thank you.
All right.
Anybody else want to address any of these projects? Anybody? Got 3 minutes. Anybody wants to talk about them? None? Nobody? Okay. Come back to the board.
May I just, for a point of clarification before you begin your discussion, I think some of the board members have used the word award, and just for clarity of the public and for
Excuse me,
the
I can
proposers.
hardly hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll talk louder.
Thank you.
I was just saying, for clarity, some of the board members have been using the term award, and I just want to be clear for the public and for the proposers that what is going to occur procedurally after an individual is selected, in the case of 480, it was Mr. Campanelli, that we're going to go back and negotiate a contract that's mutually agreeable, which will have to come back and be ultimately approved in front of the board, and which will have to be published pursuant to CRA statutes, but that there is a final approval that will be necessitated. So I didn't want to give the impression that we're taking a final action in terms of awarding the properties to someone today. And also, with respect to the prior action that was taken, I think it might be useful for the board to consider putting a time limit for the negotiations of that contract so that it doesn't remain open-ended. I just offer that for your consideration for both the 480 property and for any motion you're going to make for the 211 property.
And what would your recommendation for a reasonable period of time for negotiations?
I have asked Vivian what she thinks is reasonable, and she said she can be prepared. She thinks she can be prepared to bring you something in the next meeting. As for 480, you're free to ask Mr. Campanelli if he thinks that's reasonable. And if at that time we're on our way, but we're not there, the board can freely extend it. But
So we're talking 30 days.
30 days.
Mr. Capelli, would 30 days sound reasonable to you to negotiate something? Yeah, he's agreed.
Okay,
and
can you-
like you say, we could always extend it.
Okay, can you just make a formal motion that
Could I have a motion?
So move.
There's a motion to give a 30-day
30-day
time
time
limit for
limit, yes.
negotiation.
For the
There's a
480
second.
property.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, show the motion unanimous.
Excuse me, I like to say to council, when you said that, I asked Vivian, it sounds like some of these things should be already, when we ask the question of you, I'm just saying when I ask council, I be wanting a straight shot. I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but if you're going to represent me, give me a straight answer. But that's the way I am. I'm sorry, but you said you talked to Vivian. I'm just saying you said, well, I talked to Vivian.
Oh, no, I apologize. I asked her before I brought this up just seconds ago, so it wasn't a conversation, just for clarity. But I understand.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the board. Comments?
Well,
Mr. Buchanan?
Yes. Just because of fiscal responsibility, I have to go with one of the people that is going to buy the property.
I'm sorry?
I have to go with one of the people that's willing to buy the property, so
Okay.
that we don't own the property. Also, well, that's number one. And plus, while, like I said, I really like Tara as a person and her energy and all that, the expense to the CRA to proceed with that project, and I just don't believe it can bring as much traffic as a successful restaurant or brewery with food and wine can bring. So for those reasons, I'm down to 2, and I'm still thinking.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that I like the bed and breakfast concept, and I'm trying to think. I want to put it somewhere, but financially I don't see it. I can't look the taxpayer in the eye and say I gave away that land, that property, which we already have invested in it, something like $850,000, I believe. So, but I would love to find a way, if we can figure out where we could put this bed and breakfast. I love the concept. I love the idea. I think she's put her heart and soul into it. And but again, I'm like I was saying, for me, for Ocean Avenue, I'm thinking about feet on the street. And I'm talking about putting a lot of people up and down that street. And we're going to be building 300-some units there right on Ocean and Federal. Those people, will be a lot of people there looking for a place to eat. I think that's a good one. He's going to buy the property. He can, in 10 months, maybe get it up and going. There was a comment about not giving both places the same person. That might be valid in some cases, but this case, we have a person that is already successful with numerous places, and he's not gone belly up anywhere in the past. So, and he's running places very successfully, I might add, in Brooklyn and Delray, and I think there was one in the Keys, other places. And I just think we've been talking about here, and what we've been talking about doing on Ocean Avenue, this kind of fits all the things for me. And he has the financial backing. He has the financial backing, not backing. He has it himself. I really like that. And so my thing would be to go with that, and then try and put our minds together and see what we could do to work with Tara Sinclair's project. I'd love to bring that to Boynton and find a place to make it happen, and maybe a little more financially sound approach.
Mayor, thank you. Tara, on energy and enthusiasm, you got it hands down. But getting back to what the mayor has just said, I think he's right, spot on. What he's saying as far as getting the feet, the bodies on Ocean Ave. It's a great concept. I just think it's, comes down to location. As far as Mr. Kaplan goes, going back to what I said earlier about 480, I'm very disappointed he's not here. And I'm very uncomfortable with that. Mr. Campanelli, we've had talks before. You've been successful. You've got a proven track record. You got a bank account, which is huge. Like the mayor said earlier, we've got to answer to the taxpayers. So that's where I think I'll be leaning.
Fitzpatrick.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Practice. I think they came up with an excellent list of choices for us to choose from, and I believe they lived up to the intent of our contract with them quite well. There have been a lot of excellent businesses, and it's too bad we only have one 211 to divvy up. Personally, I was kind of going over the stuff before. I'm disappointed Rodney Mayo pulled out, because he's kind of the gold standard from what I can tell of restauranting in South Florida. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, and so I'm seeing Sal Caponelli as a good substitute. I was concerned about putting all the eggs in one basket, but hey, this is what's on the table.
Mr. Marker.
I think what's being said is a contradiction. You want to help someone, you help someone by maybe postponing. And I know I'm reiterating that. The idea of a bed and breakfast, I think, is a very sound, interesting, and will bring people. I understand the financial situation. I will have to vote, I guess. But again, I reiterate that I would like this postponed. If this is such a good idea and such a good concept, and the adjectives and the adverbs keep saying this, then why don't you give it another 30 days? And I would, well, I'm not allowed to look at the audience, so I'll put it in the sky to give them the chance to see if there is a financial situation for them where more money can be gained. So I listen to my fellow commissioners and mayor. It's easy to contradict yourself. That's what it sounds like.
McRae.
Thank you, sir. You know, with all fairness, Terry, your project is a great project, but I'm just one. I don't feel like it's best for that. I wish we could find another spot and we can sit up here, you know, and talk about postponing and stuff. When we took the reins to do what we had to do for the people, we have to answer to them and everything. And talking about postponing for another 30 days, we already postponed for years. And, you know, if I want me to go ahead and offer a motion, I want to offer a motion that this project be awarded to Mr. Salvatore Campanelli with the 30-day that you all will bring back a contract to this board so that we could act upon it.
Okay, and can we just add to the motion to negotiate the contract to bring back?
To negotiate the contract, to bring it back to us within 30 days.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, this takes us to Executive Director's report. Do you have anything to report?
I think we have to do the budget resolution under new business.
Oh, we didn't do that?
No.
Okay, going to new business. That's right. I'm sorry. I jumped down here. It's
gotta
getting
do that
late, I
budget
guess.
resolution.
You were moving along, right?
So moved.
See, we should have
He
done
wants
Item
the
A,
pizza.
consideration resolution, budget amendment 2014-2015. Yeah, I suggest
So
that.
move.
There's a
Second.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Show the
Thank
motion
you.
unanimous. Okay, consideration of purchase agreement between the CRA and Derrick Capital Partners LLC in the amount of $130,000 for property located at 515 Northeast First Street. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the motion unanimous. Consideration of approval of a conveyance of property and closing documents for the property located at 480 East Ocean Avenue from the city of Boynton Beach to the Boynton Beach CRA. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Show the motion is unanimous. There no other business come before the board? Stand adjourned.